Let me know when you're actually live.
It's probably live right now. Yep, I'm live. As soon as my little thingy shows up, that is. There it goes. So now I'm live. And I'm up here. And so here I am. Another Saturday night. Looks like I got one person in the chat already. Appreciate you being here. Hope that we get some other people calling in. Appreciate them being here. And I hope that I have a special guest that'll call in here anytime. Okay, that would be nice to hear from Blue Skies Media himself. So we'll see if he shows up tonight. He did say he would, so I guess we'll have to wait and see if he picks up his phone because he's got the information. I did send it to him in his email. Okay, so that's what I would say about that. And I don't know what this BLM is not TFL. No, it don't even sound like it'd be TFL, huh? Well, the thing is this. Today's society, things are so messed up. I got a question for you TFLers out here. So this is something I'll throw at you right off the bat. How many of you TFLers have ever questioned yourself, why is this happening? Why? Why are people acting this way and doing this on to other people? Did anybody ever ask themselves that question and then go look to see why? Wouldn't you want to know why this is happening to you, why you might be being rejected for year after year? Why? I mean, this is, to me, a crucial thing that you should ask yourself. Because after all, you're being pushed out of a life. You're being denied a life with your opposite gender. Okay? And even when you talk to other guys, you know all the BS that's handed to you. You know this already. You're blamed for it yourself. Or you just got to improve yourself. Or you just got to have confidence. And the list goes on and on and on. And when I think about that, then I have to ask people, how many of you guys have ever asked yourself that question? Why is this happening? What is wrong with people? Why is this happening? And I think that's a worthwhile thing for you to really think about yourself because you can't blame it all on feminism. You can't blame it all on Chads. Okay? No, you can't. You can't blame it all on Chads. You can't blame it all on feminism. And you can't blame it all on yourself. And so, in reality, the first thing I think that we do is we do blame ourselves, don't we? And we listen to other people who says, well, you just have to improve yourself. That's right. Yep, if you improve yourself and buy a new pair of shoes or maybe don't do this or don't do that and go out and blah, blah, blah. Okay, and if you got to go out and have a six-figure income, then what are you buying her? Or if you can buy a prostitute if that's what you're after. So reality is most TFLers just want one good woman in their life, like Blue Skies Media. Just wants to have one woman who'd love him for him, who he could love in return. And that right there is the crux of the whole thing. But anymore, you don't see this happening, do you? And then when you get the hatred of men by men, I can understand why men would feel that way about other men because nobody wants to help nobody because it's all about their selfish selves. Even if they have a woman in their life, they're not willing to set up a really good friend with some single female that they know, or a family friend that they know that's a female. No, we're not going to do that. That went out a bunch of years ago, and we don't care enough about each other to do that anymore, right? Isn't that what that really comes down to? Now I hope some callers will get in here. I hope that we'll get somebody that'll decide to join this. I hope the Blue Skies media will show up, but I also like to see some other people show up because you're getting this show every Saturday night because you people do anticipate in the show, and that I highly appreciate and thank you for. But I'm not going to get up here and spend 2 hours doing the only talking to myself. And I'm not going to spend 4 hours talking to myself. You get a good show when people join in. Okay, and that's what the crux of this is about. When I say that, I'm not harping on anybody, but I want somebody to call in. I want somebody here with me. I don't want to be by myself, and I want to encourage other people to do the same thing. You want the show every week, and I'd like to give you the show every week. And you got to be willing to speak out too, not just listen. And I've told people before, I'll give the information as long as they're legit and willing to come in and talk about the topics. I'll sit back and let you talk. You can tell your story. I'm not gonna slam you, put you down because you're in here talking. I'm just not gonna play into PUA bullshit, and I'm not gonna play into trolling. If somebody trolls or wants to play PUA crap, I will throw them out. Okay? So, where it has to be, you need more people to anticipate. No. If you're not willing to anticipate with a low number, how do you expect to get a high number? If everybody thought like you're thinking, then that means nobody'd be willing to talk. And that means the conversation won't be there. What if I said, well, I can't give you the show because I need two partners to be with me at all times? Then I wouldn't be here right now, would I? Okay, and then these shows every Saturday wouldn't have been going on. They're going on because I'm willing to come up here and give you a chance to give you the time. But in return, I'm asking you to do a little favor. Just have some respect and don't be scared and be willing to talk. Nobody has to know your true name. You can give a first name and no last name. You don't got to say where you live. And don't worry about a first name. There's tons of people with your name across this world. Your first name. So nobody's going to know who you are. You can tell your story, but that's the point. The point is you have to be willing to anticipate. So what kind of show do you want? You want a show with one person talking, or do you enjoy the show when we have multiple people in it? This is the 10th show, okay? And I've had multiple people in my chat during these shows because people are willing to anticipate. And that's all I'm asking for, and I don't think that's asking for too much. Okay, I just really don't believe that's asking for too much. Okay, so that's where I come from with that. But I did want to talk about Blue Skies a little bit tonight, but I want to give him a chance to show up. Because I don't want to just talk about him. I'd love to have him in here to talk about his life. Okay, so we just got to wait it out and see if he shows up, right? He did say he would, so that's all we got to go by. I did send him the information, and he did send me an email. Okay, so now we have to wait to see if he'll actually show up. Okay, and as far as that goes, I mean, Yeah, I want to see some other people willing to show up. I don't know where Toronto Man is. He hasn't been here, wasn't here last week anyhow. Haven't seen Toronto Man. I know where Warren's at, and I know that Warren will be in later because I've talked to him today. And of course, he would love to see Blue Skies Media show up himself. Okay? And he's really hoping he does, like I am. So, we're waiting on Blue Skies to show up. He's got the information, you know, and so I would say we're waiting on that. And while we're waiting on Blue Skies to show up, to anybody out there, if you've been in the show before, jump on in here. And if you haven't been in the show and you want to be part of it, you've been listening to it, then say something. I'll send you a link. I'll send you an email, and I'll give you my email. Okay, and once you got my email, you can get that. I'll send you the information once you send me an email saying hi, Bill. And then you'll have the information to come in. It's not that hard. Okay, so I'm going to stick with that, and so I'm going to talk about some of the things that Blue Sky Media has mentioned recently from stress while he's venting. Okay, in hopes and anticipation the man will show up. I know on his live stream last night, he did say openly he would come on here tonight. So, and he does have the information because he did give me his email address and I did email him that information. So, it's a waiting game on him because I can't do no more than that. Okay. So, but anyhow, we're waiting on him. Recently, I've told you I was going to talk a little bit about him tonight because the topics he's been breathing up. See, Blue Skies Media is definitely a TFLer. There's no doubt about it. The man is being pushed to be out, can't get a female in his life, and he's tried and tried and tried. And then on top of it, he got lucky at one point and had a female in his life, and for whatever reason, she got cancer and was taken away, and he lost her. And I actually feel for him on that one because that had to mess him up. That had to hurt. But then he walked smack into TFL behind that. I had red flags up on him for a while, but he took all them red flags down himself. And I was really happy to see the red flags disappear. I know now in my heart that he's not anything but a young man who lives up in New York somewhere, who has had a terrible life when it comes to what's been happening to him. And the last 10 years have been really hard on him. Really hard. But I want him to know that there's lots and lots of men living the exact same life he's living that have also really had a hard life and been under a lot of stress from what's going on in our society. And that he's not at fault for it, but you cannot be refusing to be friends with men and then use even women. If you're going to friend zone me, I don't know. If the women that friend zone people, I don't want you as a friend. You're not even my friend. So what he's doing when he does that is he's cutting his own throat. I mean, he's literally cutting his own throat when he does that because the truth of the matter is through social engineering, the dating scene has been completely messed up. Everything that's supposed to be is not anymore. Everything that should never be is what is today. Then you can't figure out why relationships don't last, huh? You can't figure out why there's so much drama, huh? You hear all these stories about all these crazy women and the stuff that they say and the stuff that they do. You hear all these stories about men. You see the divorce rate. You literally see what's going on around you, but yet you don't look around you to see why. Nobody asks themselves why. Why has it gotten this bad? I mean, do you really believe you have to have game to get a date? Do you really believe another human being's emotions and feelings is a game? Because other human beings' emotions and feelings isn't a game to be played with. Well, as you're sleepy, you can join the chat. How's that? That'll help wake you up. Otherwise, you can go. I mean, you can go somewhere else because I can't control nobody calling in. They have to want to be part of the show first. All right, right, okay. And I haven't seen nobody say, "What's your email?" I'll jump in here. I've already offered that, but I see crickets. Okay, and when I see crickets, then I'm hearing nothing, right? That's correct. So I can only carry on with a topic for so long, So I would love for somebody to get in here. So meanwhile, we're going to talk about what I have to talk about, okay? And I don't see anybody anticipating because I asked a while ago, I asked you a simple question. And that simple question was, did any of you ever ask yourself why this is going on? Why this is happening to you? Did any of you ever ask yourself that?
Hey,
Because
Bill, I
I
have an
Go
Bill,
ahead.
I have an answer. Dude, you don't have enough game, dude.
Oh, is that what it is? They don't
Yeah,
have enough
dude.
game.
Yeah,
Ah,
dude.
maybe
You
it's
lack
okay. Well,
women.
would that be confidence too? Is that what it is?
Yeah, these women can from 50 yards away from you without looking you pick up on your vibrations.
Ah, yeah. Oh, finally somebody answered. It's social engineering. Okay. So if you recognize social engineering, then shouldn't you recognize that only we can defeat social engineering by not going along with the program? Social engineering don't work if you start seeing what's really going on and don't go along. How about using your own brain and your own thinking skills instead of theirs? You know, but yeah, I wanted people to get in this chat. So you hear Steve Hulk, he's around, isn't he? He's waiting for you to jump in here too.
Yeah, in fact, I told Bill I don't want to monopolize the conversation. I want others to talk.
Exactly. And so far, all you're doing is typing with your fingers. And we're still waiting on blue skies. So,
Oh, dude, I could lose my job.
oh, that's what it is. You might lose your job, right? So you
Dude,
mean
I might
you could
if a
lose your
girl here.
job, right? Right? If you talk out and speak up.
Yeah, I guess that's some people. I think people are just Bill. I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't think if I was, I could still understand some of these people.
Yeah, well, I understand manginus around us. I don't call them manginus because they're not worthy of the man. Just call them nuginus. That sounds better. I don't like putting man in front of it. I don't want them to think they're a man. Blue Skies Media.
Is he in here?
Well, he's in the chat box, but not in the talk.
Well, you got the code number there. Just email it to him. I think I have the code in front of me too.
Ah, that's sad to see.
What's that?
He's writing, he don't need our stupid advice.
He what? Oh, did he actually say that to you?
This is what he's writing in the chat.
Yeah, but how do you know that's him? How do you know it's not a troll?
Well, that part's a true scenario. We could click on it and see. And you're
Yeah,
right, it
check
could
it.
be a troll.
Yeah, right click and see if it's his channel.
I'm going to have to do that because we need to know.
We need to verify this. Yeah,
Oh, no, it's a troll.
that's a troll. I figured it
It's a
was. That,
troll. So let's take
yeah,
care of the troll's problem, okay?
all that effort he put into making the channel, let's just make it one fell swoop and click it out.
It's gone.
It's gone.
He got what he deserved.
Hmm.
Okay, he's gone. He's been
Who?
removed
How do these people doing all this? Like, why do they go through all that effort to do all that crap?
because
I mean,
they
I don't
have
even.
they have mental issues.
Bill, I think some of these guys are so below. I've posited the theory that some of these guys could be guys that are severely crippled or deformed that are so angry at the world that their only way to lash out is to hate the very people that they're trying to educate them.
Oh,
Who
that's
knows?
not hard, but for Ron, you're not in the US, are you? Yes,
I
it's
mean, Bill,
Zoom.
yeah,
Okay? You are correct. It is Zoom. If you want in this chat, I will bring you in this chat, Ron. Okay? But you need to put Zoom on your device.
open up an account. Yeah, he's got to get a free account. If he has, yeah, he may not. Anyways, Bill, I don't know what's going on with that troll that was pretending to be Blue Skies.
Right there, Ron. Get yourself Zoom. Use that email address and send a friend's request. I'll accept it as long as you got a mic, because I don't believe you're in America. And then freaking fire up your mic. I'll bring you right on in. Okay? So if you want in, I would definitely love to have you in because you have been following Steve and I for a long time.
Who is this guy, Bill?
Ron,
Ron who?
let me get up here. Bing, bing, bing to his name again. Okay, I just flew right by the damn thing. Ron Fan.
Oh, Ron Fan. Yeah, I think I might have interviewed him. I'm not sure.
He's been around a long time. He's followed you and I, Steve, for years.
Wow.
I know exactly who he is. He's followed us for years. I'd love to have him in here.
Wow.
So all I gotta do is just put Zoom on, send a friend's request. I'll accept it. And then I'll just invite them in. They'll be in. That'll make it easier for them. With Ron, that's the way I have to do it anyhow, because I don't think he's in America.
That's all right. Zoom.us.
Well, I don't know about Hell by the Dashboard Light anymore. I wouldn't stop him. I mean, he did do Out by the Dashboard Light did a lot of good videos in his day. But unfortunately, depression and anger got the best of him.
Yeah, Bill, yes. A lot of these people don't have control of their emotions, Bill. I mean, they're not very introspective at all. And I think that that's really problematic with the manosphere. You know, I've seen these guys come and go left and right. They had Red Pill Brotherhood. You've had, Held by the Dashboard Light. I mean, there's dozens of these people that have just like had like mental, I don't know, breakdowns, or they just left because they were upset with the reality of what they're dealing with.
Well, Steve, it's very personal, and after a while, it can get on a person's,
I
it
know,
can
and
get to him.
yeah, I know it does because I call it the cipher effect. He wanted to go back into the Matrix. He said he couldn't deal with it, and for good reason because in the movie in the Matrix, Bill, you got to understand that Morpheus, when Morpheus brought Cipher into the Matrix or outside the Matrix, he didn't tell him how rough of a job, how rough of a life it was going to be for him. I mean, he didn't get access like Neo gets the beautiful woman, where what's his name? Cipher is a TFLer basically in the movie, and he didn't want to deal with the reality that he was in that situation, you know?
It's hard. It's not easy. You feel like there's something wrong with you. Think about what we hear all the time. Oh, the women in the 1 to 5 seconds, and that part is true. There is a lot of women that do that, but you can't put that on every single woman. You realize women are actually been programmed just social engineering, and they've gotten the opposite programming that we've got, and they're just going along with what's norm for the women around them in today's society, like most of the guys are. And unfortunately, it has been engineered to leave a lot of old guys behind, huh? I mean, like that movie Left Behind. Well, that's what society's really done to TFLers, is left them behind.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, Bill, but that's just how it is, you know? And I was telling you earlier about TFL is so bad now. I don't even think boycotting the bar or restaurant scene even matters because they seem to be doing very well without our business.
Yeah, I don't think you could boycott it if you did. I don't think they'd lose a dime.
I mean, they'll take your business. Don't get me wrong. If you look somewhat presentable, they'll take your business. But it's like you're. It's a lonely existence when you're eating out by yourself, and you maybe are sitting at the bar and you're drinking a couple drinks, and you're realizing that if the waitress doesn't want to, if she fears that you might like her, she may not want to communicate with you, and you're not left with too much. Guys are kind of in dickhead mode today, so they don't talk to you, so you're kind of by yourself.
Yeah. So has anybody got Zoom on their thingy yet? Want me to add them? Let me look here. I don't see anything coming in yet, so I just wanted to make sure in case I didn't get my little sound effect. Because I don't want them to send an invite and then I'm not accepting, because then I'm not going to know they're there, so I can't bring them in. But I would definitely love to see Ron come in. I give the information now. So them two people need to jump on in here, that's for sure. And there's Steve from Texas. I appreciate him being here. We're trying to get
Oh,
people to jump in here, guy. To
I
the other
do.
Steve. While we're waiting on Blue Skies, hoping that he'll show up. That's all we can do.
Hey, I've noticed VVS has not done any videos in a while.
Yeah, VVS is taking a hike. I think he's out there chasing tail.
Yeah. Well, he never claimed he wasn't, though. That's the thing about him. He never claimed he wasn't. He said he was chasing it, but maybe he's
Yeah.
found some. Maybe
Well, maybe he found somebody. And that is another question. If you find somebody, for the people speaking out, would you still be willing to speak out?
Mhm.
Would you do what I do?
At least he comfort people. If he is with some girl, he should do a video telling him how he's successful, and maybe he could help some of his audience.
I would think so, yeah. I would think he should take a moment and address his audience and let them know that he's gotten something in his life and how it happened for him. And
Mhm.
what do I think about Copeland?
Oh, Copeland, he's selling the dream. Oh, Copeland, he's that New Zealand guy that's telling everybody that you can be a man whore in Eastern Europe, but he's also a little bit more realistic. He is saying that in Eastern Europe, a lot of these girls are looking for sugar daddies too. So he's actually telling you that it's maybe more expensive than you can imagine. He's actually admitting that the problem is getting much more severe. 15 years ago, going to the Ukraine was an option. It's not anymore. There's, I think that it's radically changed for the worst because the value of Eastern European women has gone through the roof.
Did
And
you?
yes, they'll date you and marry you, but you've got a lot. You got to bring a lot to the table.
Yeah. Did you say Hell by the Dashboard Light took all of his content down?
He did, yeah.
So he has absolutely nothing on his channel?
Nothing, no.
Okay, I just want to make sure because we got another Hell by the Dashboard light in here again. Just
Well,
want to, I did
well,
right click it and went to the
okay,
channel.
it'll say 2 videos available. Go to see if it's him. It'll say available 2 videos, and none will show up. But see if that's the one.
No, this channel has no videos.
Does it say it? Does it say 2 videos available, or does it say 0 videos?
It says no, 0 videos.
Okay, then that's not him. I doubt that's him. Yeah, you don't know how to deal with these trolls. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that don't surprise me. I was suspecting troll just because of what I just saw.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, there we are. Request.
Oh, you got someone coming in. Okay,
Accept.
I'm gonna let them talk.
Yep, as soon as I get them in here. Okay, now I've accepted that. Let me try this. Give me a second here, guys, and I'll see if I can't find them here. Well, this might be interesting. Let me go back to my thing here. Just bear with me a second. Okay, are you in the list now? Invite to meeting. Let's see if they show up now.
Bill, I don't see him in the list so far. Is he going through direct? Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just sent him a friend invite and he declined it.
Wow.
So I don't know how you plan on coming into the show if you're going to send a friend invite and then decline it.
He could call in the show, but you'd have to give him that information.
I'd have to give you the information if you have a phone and want to call him. Okay, I mean, I can't just and I'm not going to put the show on hold for you. So, I gave you a chance to come in and you basically declined the chance. And if you're going to decline the chance, then don't complain. Okay, I can do that again, yes. You declined it, so and I can't do anything about that, so but I can send you another invite. So there you go again. There's another invite for you. So now we'll see what happens. Okay. Try to get this person in here. Okay, he's in with us. Now all we got to do is if he's got a mic and he can speak. Right now I don't hear him.
Hello, am I coming through loud and clear?
There you are. Now I hear you.
All right, great, Bill. It's nice to be with you. I'm just
Then he broke off. Are you there? Up, you muted your mic. Right in the middle of talking, he muted his mic. So you'll have to unmute your mic.
Oh yeah, I should be. You should be able to hear me now.
I hear you now. There you are.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad to be back. It's been a few years. I used to come on to the old radio show back in the days of Robert and Wayne, and more recently with Warren. But not since the streams have been up on YouTube. So it's good to be here. It's good to be here with Steve as well. He's a real legend in the community.
Steve's been around a while, just as I have. We've both been here quite a while.
Yeah, most of these people have nervous breakdowns and they flip off. They come out with great content. Hell by the Dashboard Light had some really good stuff, but unfortunately, not all people are stable enough to to hang in the distance. It's like watching Ali fight 15 rounds with a tough opponent. He was able to go the distance, and no matter how tough the guy was.
Yeah, well, it doesn't count. It doesn't count the two of you, especially Bill. Bill's been around very, very consistently.
Yeah, he's been consistent. And I have. I've done some really good stuff. I've reinvented some things, but so we're just basically trying to get this other guy in, this Blue Skies Media. Hopefully he'll come in.
Is Blue Skies coming in tonight, or?
Well, in his live stream yesterday, he sent me a friend's request or his email. I sent him the information to come in. Okay, he's got my email, so he could have easily used Zoom or used his phone, either one. And so far, he hasn't showed up.
So whether he's legit or not will definitely be proven tonight. Then, if he is coming in.
Yeah, he did say he'd be here. Okay.
Yeah.
But so far, he's not here. I got a feeling this dashboard light's probably a troll again. So I'd say for people in the chat, keep your eyes on them. If they appear to be a troll, I'll get rid of them.
And what about that guy, the young Scotsman? He's usually on Saturday, isn't he?
Which one? The young guy? I mean, you talked about Henry?
Yeah, the guy from Scotland.
Yeah, from United Kingdom, or from the guy from Australia?
From the United Kingdom.
Okay, yep, that's Henry. Or Henry, not Harry. Okay, Harry. Yeah, I talked to him earlier today. I don't know if he's up. Okay, so I can't answer if he's up or not. I can check and see, because I know he'll come on. I have no issues with that if he's up. You got to remember, his time is really late.
Yeah. I'm just thinking he is good to listen to. I've been listening back to the audio recordings after they come out, because it's usually, for me, it's quite late, so I listen to them in the morning. But
yeah, you're over in Germany, ain't you?
No, I'm from Ireland.
Oh, you're from Ireland too.
I'm Irish, yeah. So
yeah, because I got Joe from over there as well.
Joe, yeah.
Yeah.
You poor thing.
Yeah.
Is your country becoming a third world dumping ground?
Yeah, exactly. That pretty much describes the exact situation, with mass immigration and the elites putting their own agenda without any reference from the people.
Right.
Can't fix. Once you do that, you cannot fix that problem, because once you get immigrants in there from these different countries, they're not leaving. They're never.
Exactly.
Never
Yeah, it's particularly insane in this country because we've only had it. We were very far behind. It's only come in the last.
The elites won't allow a country to be all white. Ireland was almost a completely white Irish Catholic, or I should say Irish Catholic Protestant too, but they will not allow for there to be an all white country. They will not allow it.
Yeah, and it's happening quicker than everywhere else. It's happening like in fast motion. They're bringing it in faster than anywhere else because we were a little bit behind. We modernized very late, so they're really pushing the issue politically at the moment. Just everything is to do with, like, they're bringing in American style identity politics where with racism as a norm and everything of that nature. Whereas it was literally only 30 years ago we were completely homogenous, and now
you had tribalism amongst
immigrants are coming in.
Yeah, you had tribalism between the different groups of Catholics and Protestants. But no, it's bizarre what's happened to your country, and that's going to create more TFLers too. Ireland will have more.
It does, yeah.
Well, no, it will, because those nice Irish girls will be ever so desperate to be fashionable, and they'll just abandon their own men. too square, you know?
Yeah, that is exactly what's happening. It's completely planned, completely engineered, and we're seeing it now. We're seeing it in the full flow, faster and faster.
I don't believe this is one conspiracy. Well, I mean, I think it is a global conspiracy, but it's easier to manage a country. Like, look at Brazil, 90% dark skin. The elites are light skinned. It's how you run a country. You destroy it, and then these elites, like the Clintons or the Bushes, they can run things easier. And man, this is a disgusting world that people are leaving their children. I'm surprised the Irish people didn't uprise and say enough is enough.
Yeah, we definitely should have, considering what we supposedly originate from in the uprising during the early part of the 20th century. It's unbelievable that we're accepting what we do now.
I see a lot of complicity because I think what we have is a world of people that are totally confused and believing what's going on around them. And then a lot of people that are just scared to go outside the norm for fear of losing their income, their job, and what have you.
Yeah, that's true, Bill. It's everywhere today. It's on social media. They're bringing in hate speech laws. Hate speech laws meaning if you divert from conventional opinion, you can go to jail pretty much.
That's about taking your right to freedom of speech away from you.
Yeah, and it's
That's
coming
really
in
what that's
fast
about. You keep making
under any
hate
excuse.
speech laws, yeah. When you start
Yeah,
making hate speech laws, you can keep adding to them and adding to them and adding to them, and pretty soon you just got to shut your mouth, which would allow corruption just even furtherly. It's sort of like when I was listening to Blue Skies yesterday on his live stream, and you really think about it, and he's trying to figure this out. There was another shooting yesterday. We won't go into it because I don't want to be kicked off the fucking live stream. Excuse my language there. But there was another stage shooting yesterday, and we'll just leave it at that. And unfortunately, we've had some incels used for the name, anyhow, is used to come after the manosphere. And I made this call quite a while back that they are moving in on the manosphere. And it's going to be used for mental health laws and to shut people up. And I think one of the main reasons they're coming after the manosphere is because they want to shut us up. And that would be mostly the TFLers and people that are awake.
Well, Bill, even MGTOW is rogue. Right now, they don't what they don't like are rogue people. I don't think TFL is a threat because when you look at, I only got 2,000 subscribers, but they don't like anybody that's rogue. When you go rogue, you basically are just you're not contained, and most of the alternative media is contained. It's
Yeah.
just it's fluff and stuff, and so even if we can agree that MGTOW is phony in its cause, it is a threat in the sense that it's not really controlled at this point, other
Well,
than banning channels.
well,
So
that part is true. I had somebody in the comment section tell me prove it's staged. And I'm not proving nothing to you. You got two hands and you got two eyes and you got a brain in your head. And you can go look for yourself. Just like you people who believe Elliot Rogers really happened. Go look for yourself. The only thing that really happened is they pulled the wool over your eyes. Because people
Bill,
don't
I
understand what's really going on in society. And when you don't understand what's going on around you, they can get by with murder.
well, Bill, the funny thing is that I find out that the phony ones are the ones that the media makes a big issue of
It
because
is. It is. And
we
I'm
don't.
watching this one because they may not make a big issue out of this.
Mhm,
What I'm waiting for is to see if they come up with a manifest.
yeah.
If they
Well, when
come
they
up with a manifest, then you can guarantee it's staged. If they don't come up with a manifest and they don't make a big deal out of it, then I'm going to say it's probably real.
no manifesto is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, manifesto. Yep.
yeah, because
Well,
even back with the Columbine killers, they never published a manifesto because they thought that it would radicalize people even back then. So I think the Columbine killers were legit, but the ones in more recent times they haven't published their writings. I don't think.
They manipulated George Sidini was real. And the
Yeah, George Shadini was real.
mainstream
Yeah,
media, yep, took his blog and flipped the words around to their own want.
Bill,
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah,
I think that George, I did read his blogs because I did see his stuff, and he had a diary on there, so he was kind of depressed about a lot of things. Like he was angry at his brother and a couple other things, but they weren't using that. There was a guy that interviewed that Cuomo guy was he used to work for ABC. I think what's his name, Mike Cuomo, and he actually seemed to think that George Sidini just wanted to find it. I think it was him. I'm not sure if it was him, but it sounded like when they saw his videos, they thought that here's a guy that just wanted to meet a decent woman, So there was some sympathy that they knew he was mentally ill, but they said that he didn't strike as a woman hater or anything like that. You know,
Yeah. Well, but the bad thing is it does cause a lot of depression. It
yeah,
causes a lot of anger. But how would you expect a guy to be? You
yeah,
do everything society told you to do, and you did everything everybody else did. And you're constantly rejected, and then you do everything they tell you, you take all the advice they tell you, and it doesn't matter what you do.
yeah,
It's the same thing over and over and over. You'd
yeah.
be,
Bill, I don't know.
you'd be
I
mad
don't know.
too.
I don't know how they're going to go after the manosphere. There's really no way to
I think,
really.
well, they ain't gonna be able to nail the whole manosphere at one time because even if they get some laws passed, which I think they eventually will, right? It's still gonna come down to they have to prove you have something mental. Now, if they can shut you up like what he was just talking about the hate speech laws, you take that in combination with the way we stick up for women and put men down with all the male shaming. Yeah, I could see them coming up with some kind of mental because I can go back as far as 10, 11 years ago, Steve, and remember when I was told several times that TFLers was dangerous to society. I was
Uh,
told that way back then.
I don't think. I think that Bill, at this point, they're not though, because like I said, I don't think that this until this hits critical mass, I don't think they'll ever
No,
identify
I don't
TFL.
think they're actually as dangerous to society. You know what I think they're dangerous to?
Who,
They're
not their
dangerous. They're dangerous to the elite's agenda.
right? Well, but if they're not able to procreate, they're not dangerous because they're not able to procreate and have a
No,
wife.
but if more of them get together and start speaking out and making trouble, if more of them
Right.
look into what's going on and use critical thinking skills and start using their own brains instead of the brain in the jar, then you become more dangerous to the people that are trying to shut us up. Because that's what hate speech is about. It's about shutting people up. But go ahead, guy. Am I here? We went quiet here.
Oh no, I'm
the
just taking a break.
Western world.
There we go. As long as I know people are still here because it went quiet on me.
Yeah, the stream is a little bit messed up at the moment, but which has been my connection.
Okay. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing difficulty, but yeah. And I haven't seen
But
blue
yes,
skies yet. But go ahead.
I was just saying the hate speech laws. It's anti-free speech laws. It's just any divergence of opinion from what we get top down from the government.
Yeah. Well, I would like to see it stop, but until people really realize what's going on, because the question comes back to, like I said earlier, how many TFLers have ever actually really questioned themselves what the hell's going on? Why are people's behaviors the way they are? Why is it so difficult for one man to meet a female in his life? I mean, you really ask yourself the question, why is this going on? Why are we acting this way? Because in reality, I don't want any bad on anybody. I think everybody deserves to have somebody in their life that would be their best friend, their mate, their companion, and be with them, and to have a life with somebody. And if they wanted kids, they could have a family and raise a family. I mean, I think every man and every woman deserves that chance, but we have an agenda that's been played out that doesn't want that. Okay, they want to enslave all of us, and that's really what's going on. I don't like the thought of it. I wish that it wasn't that way. I'd love to change it, but how are you going to change it if you can't even get people in the manosphere throwing each other into the bus every chance they get? MGTOW's been a disaster. So, right now when I look around me, it's the TFLers that are the most honest people online, at least on YouTube, that is. And that's really where that comes from. And so, yeah, I would like to see us in the manosphere stop fighting one another, stop throwing each other underneath the bus, and take the time, seriously, take the time to get to know each other a little bit. I mean, in the manosphere,
Bill, you're very, very.
what's that?
I'm really struggling to hear you.
You're having trouble hearing me? How about our people in the chat? Are you all hearing me okay?
I hear you, Bill.
Okay. Maybe it's over there on his end. That's sad. Well, let me know if it clears up, because you were clear there a minute ago, but the last time you talked, you were like breaking up.
No, Bill, I can hear you now.
Okay.
I'm sure it's on my end anyway, so don't worry about it.
Are you on Wi-Fi? Or are you wired or just?
Yeah, no, I'm on my phone, so
Okay.
connection might not be the best.
Okay, yeah, if you're on your phone, that could be some of it, because you're going through the towers.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but the reality is in the manosphere, we all need to really get over ourselves and remember the common denominator is this. You have so many men who can't get somebody in their life, and we've turned being a competition against each other that everything's a game, because that's really what it is. We're all competing against each other for what you should have never have had to compete for to begin with. And that's really what that comes down to. There's no man that should ever have had to compete against another man to meet somebody. I mean, what happened to your communication skills, man? Yeah, I can remember years ago. You grew up and you played with the little girls down the road. You grew up in school and you talked without a problem. And then somehow, magically, once this girl got a certain age, oh, the guy has to go learn how to become a human being and talk to her. Suddenly, you got to have a special skill to introduce to be meeting another human being. You don't think about that. Everybody's put everything into categories and labels, and the only thing we've done is divide each other and tear each other up. And when you got so many men living this that can't get out of it, well, why don't you want to stand together or talk together, speak out together, and become strong? Because how do you want to go through your life not fighting back? I feel this way about it. I'd rather keep fighting to the day I die than I would to bend over. Because when you don't fight back, what you're really doing is submitting to them. They win, you lose. So you can either die as a man on your feet fighting back, or you could die as a coward on your knees all bent over. And that's sort of the way I feel about that. Now, I wish the Blue Skies media would show up, but so far he hasn't.
Are you saying, did he agree to come on here, Bill?
Yes,
Were you in contact with him?
he actually sent me an email last night on his live stream, And he actually told everybody on his live stream, yeah, he has no problem. He'll come on. So he sent me an email and I sent him the information. Okay. I told him both ways he could come in. And now, no, so far, nobody's heard from him.
Yeah, it would be interesting because the main suspicion you had of him was the fact that he never interacts with anyone in his comment section or anything. So for him to come onto your show uh, would really prove that he really is legit. He's a real TFL sufferer or what have you.
Yeah, and last night he did a live streams, first one I've ever seen him do. And he was gaming and he was talking to a couple other guys and he was actually answering people in his comment section of the live stream. And he acknowledged me last night. He sent me his email. He told everybody on his live stream that he would come on tonight. And I can only take him at face value, you know.
Yeah, we'll see. It would be very, very interesting to have him on here.
I know Warren was looking forward to it because Warren plans on showing up.
Is Warren coming in tonight?
Yes, he is. Warren plans on showing up. He was on the phone with me earlier, and he's planning on being here as soon as he gets home from work. And remember, he works late, so you know.
Yeah.
But he normally gets in here between 10:30, 10:30. He's normally in here by then, so I would say any time in the next 40 minutes, we'll probably have Warren in here. And I don't know if Blue Skies Media
That's
is
good
out
to
there
hear.
listening, but it'd be nice if he would use this information and come into the stream.
You know, it's good to hear Warren always live things up. He's a very interesting guy.
I like Warren. Warren, he has the right to be angry. Some people don't think blah blah, and I'm like, unless you've walked in, the inside or TFLer's life where they're being rejected every time, all the time, and being blamed for what's happening to them, and they do everything that everybody's ever said, then you have trouble people have trouble understanding why they're angry. Well, anybody would be angry if that was happening to them, anybody. But they want to play it off like they're the tough guy and that wouldn't bother them any, or or they want to lie and say they get laid all the time, right? And one thing I do know for sure is people who actually are getting it all the time don't brag they're getting it. The only people who go around bragging or getting it all the time are the ones that don't get it at all. And they're not smart enough to figure that out. And so,
yeah, Bill, sorry, the connection is, I can't really hear it. You're coming through very robotic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, darn satellite dish. If you had a computer, you could jump on the computer and be online that way. You wouldn't be, maybe that'd be a better connection. Yep. And so, oh no. Now, why would somebody like myself be jealous, okay? This just shows this idiot don't know the first thing about me. And they're running their mouth. I think it has something to do with I called them out on bragging about getting laid all the time. That's not normally what normal men do that are getting laid all the time. They don't go out bragging or getting laid all the time. That is what a dumbass does, okay, that thinks they're fooling people that's not. Yeah, I agree with the commenter down there. I think that this is probably what should happen. So it happened. They're gone. Uh-oh, I think Hulk fell asleep on us. Yep, Steve passed out. We bored him to death. Some people had to yell at Steve, wake up. Oh. We have a little snoring going on the show here. I think he's had a long day there. I'm going to see if I can do something else here. Can't say I can get him in here, but I can give it a shot. Well, it's sad that I'm not seeing Blue Sky show up at this point. I think it would have been a very interesting night, and I would have loved to have had him on. He did say he would, and obviously he's not, for whatever reason. But he's being his own worst enemy, because I'm going to tell you right now, if we go with Blue Skies, the stuff he has said, he's only hurting himself. Because when you say you want no men to be friends with and no women to be friends with, then obviously you don't want a relationship. And you can't blame other men for what's happening to you. You can try to, okay, but that's not going to cut it, because it is not other men's fault that you're not getting nobody. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is we're going to have to wait. But meanwhile, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to mute Steve temporarily, because Steve has fallen asleep on us, guys. Mr. Hoka is out for the count. He'll wake up when he wakes up. So I took care of that problem. We still have our other guest with us, and hopefully his connection is allowing him to hear me.
Yeah, Bill, can you?
Yes.
It's coming through very, very laggy on your end for me.
Yeah,
But,
well, I'm sorry. I wish I could make the connection better for you.
yeah, do I sound loud and clear?
Right
Hear
now
me
you
all
are,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's grand then. So Steve, you said Steve might be coming back.
Well, if he wakes up, I know he'll PM me on Facebook, or he'll PM me and let me know. I'll now unmute him. But right now he has fallen asleep, and I don't think he realized he did. He was probably laying on his couch doing this live stream on his phone, and don't even realize he passed out. That's most likely what happened. He was sitting there whomping, and now he's just gone.
And Blue Skies Media, did you agree a specific time?
Well, I told him what time the live stream started in the email I sent him.
Yeah.
Okay, so he knew what time it started. And, you know.
What's that now? About, what is it, 11 o'clock in America?
Where he's at, yeah. I'm an hour behind that where I'm at here. But where he's at, it would be 11 o'clock his time. So,
oh, yeah.
He's missed an hour of the live stream so far. So it's like wait and see. You know, I mean, that's all I can do. I mean, you know, you can only take him at what he says. And he said he was going to show up, and he did send me his email. So if he sends me his email and I sent him this information, that's a good sign. But, you know, maybe he's only showing up for part of the show. Maybe he forgot. I don't know. I don't want to say what's happened. Maybe he decided he was going out tonight. You know, that's all we can do.
Shows up. He's.
You say what?
I think he's a true TFL, or he's for real anyway. So, be nice, interesting to talk with him on your.
Yeah, I mean, after last night's live stream, he pretty much, I heard him. I tuned in for over 2 hours listening to him talk with the guys he was playing the games with. And I didn't say nothing for probably over an hour easy before I even typed anything into the live stream at all. And then when I did type into the live stream, I had a couple people that were there that knew who I was right away. And then he did acknowledge me and he did send me an email, his email. And I did send him the information and he did say he would. So I can't say no more than that. That's what happened. But I can say this. You can't walk away from men and say you don't want a man to be a friend for the rest of your life without hurting your chances of meeting a female. Okay? Do you think a female that has brothers and friends of the brothers and other males that are friends that are married or whatever, that would maybe be interested in being hooked up with you and be real with you? Do you think they're going to accept the fact that you don't want to talk to their brothers because they're a man? See, you actually hurt your own self, because even if you have a really good friend that's a man that you just went out and shot pool with, caught some drinks with, and bullshitted with, it's better than being alone all the time.
And Blue Skies Media, he is truly dealing with widowhood or the death of his wife, which is arguably worse than even hardcore TFL. So
Well,
he is
actually, it
coming from,
is. I can understand him in a lot of ways, because
yeah.
I got a son and he has a mother, and I know what happened. Even though she didn't die, I know what it's like to love somebody with everything you have and have it fall apart and lose them. And he knows what it's like to be in love with somebody and have them die and lose them. And then to walk smack into TFL, that would really mess a person up.
So you do fully assume he is for real. It's because even that might have sounded like a stage show when he announced it, but
I know,
upon
but
further,
after listening to him last night, yeah, I think he's quite
yeah,
real.
yeah.
I
Because
think
the
it's
fact he
just,
wasn't responding to his audience, that did suggest, that he was just putting it on. But
he put up a lot of red flags. I agree with you. And I kept my eyes and didn't want to drop the red flags because of it. But then after listening to him for a couple hours last night, he pretty much did away with the red flags. He's TFL. Monday Forever Alone Monday, I think, just used him. And
yeah,
I
he was
think
only
yeah, and I think,
responding to
yeah,
him, so
yeah, exactly. I think it's because,
they're not connected really.
yeah, he's not awake enough to actually realize what's going on in society, to be able to put his finger on the problem. Okay. And I think, and that's the
Because
sad thing.
previously you thought he was being groomed for a false flag, like you didn't trust him that much, but when you really dig deep into him and his videos, you can see that he's genuine there.
Yeah. Through watching more of his videos, I began to believe he was actually genuinely TFL. But he would still keep putting up a red flag here or there. And that's one of the reasons when I seen him doing that live stream, I purposely took time out to listen to him. And I listened for a long time. And I was glad I did, because it told me the truth. I mean, it really did. It removed the red flags. He's TFL. Monday was nothing more than using him, okay? And now here's Monday going and calling himself Monday Chad Monday. But Monday's too professionally spoken. I'm sorry, but he is. Okay? And I've got a good sense on that stuff. And Monday isn't here to help anybody. Monday's
Well,
making money doing what he's doing, guaranteed.
at the very least, he was only ever money, forever alone money. At the very,
Yeah,
very least.
yeah.
And
I wouldn't be surprised if he's had this girl in his life the whole time.
because it's like when you remember back when you discovered him, many of your followers were commenting, and he never responded back, as if he was above you because he had several thousand subscribers and you're only in the hundreds. So
But when you're
it
telling
was
the
just
truth,
about the
well, but
money.
when you're telling the truth, you get pushed down. And when you're telling propaganda, they prop you up. All you got to do is look at what's going on around you. How many people, I mean, I've lost a few channels already, have I not? And the channels I've lost wasn't because of dating scene topics neither. And it wasn't because I was violating rules. It's because I was telling truth and they shut truth down. That's what the hate speech is about, is shutting you up.
Well, if you get shut down with that small a channel, then you definitely know you're talking truth.
Well, I got shut down on my first original channel. I got shut down again on my last channel up. I had 2,600 subs when they took me out. Okay? And if I get subs, they take them away from me right away. I go up 3, come down a couple, go up 3 or 4 or 5, stay frozen for a while, go down a couple, go back up a couple, then go back down 3 or 4, and then go up 5 or 6. It's keeping you suppressed is all it's doing, and it's about the truth. That's really what gets them, is they don't want people speaking the truth. Stephen Hell by the Dashboard Light done some great videos. He really did. He did some great videos. Okay? And he said a lot of honest stuff. His anger, I totally understood why he's angry. I can agree with his anger because he has the right to be angry like every other TFLer does. You don't do this to a human being and then expect them not to be angry. Okay? My only trouble was he was being angry at other victims of the same thing. That's the biggest problem we have in the manosphere, is we're not willing to recognize that these other guys didn't do this to you. The Chads didn't do it to you. No. This wasn't them who done this to you.
But not even the women did it to them. It's top down. It comes from the institutions and the media. That's the ultimate origin.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. The
That's the
problem
angle we
comes
have
from
to have.
exactly that. You know, to call it conspiracy theory when it's so in your face nowadays, if you can't see what's going on, it's because you don't want to see it. Or you're deliberately lying to yourself, which ain't going to get you anywhere. It ain't going to change a thing. There's no reason for the manosphere to be throwing each other underneath the bus. All of these men facing the same problems and they can't even get together and fight for the same cause. And if you can't fight for the same cause, how do you expect to ever get anywhere?
Because look at Google, what Google is doing at the moment, it's really, really clamping down. Like, you have a small channel, but any channel which literally, anyone who goes against the grain is threatened with being disbanded at this stage. They're really turning it up.
Well,
They're changing the terms of service in all
the
kinds of
same,
covert words.
they changed the same service. You know, they said a long time ago when Google took over YouTube, because I was here before Google had it. And when Google came up and took over, Google's the one that made the statement they were going to turn YouTube into a TV set back then.
And the amount of money it even takes them just to have the just to host all these videos, like they're pretty much making a guaranteed loss from Google buying it for multi-billions back then. So they had another agenda, Google, to buy YouTube in the first place, and that was just to completely stifle all opinion in the political sphere.
Well, that's exactly it. You know, that's why I try to tell people, come on. Do you think somebody's going to spend all the money it took to put them Georgia Guidestones together and then stand them up for the public to see? Do you think they're going to write that stuff in 3 different tongues because they're not serious about what message you're sending to the public? You're nuts. They're dead serious about what they're telling the public. They laughed and said they were going to tell the public what they were going to do, and then they would do it. We would do nothing about it. And guess what? That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, the Georgia Guidestones were directed right to the end of the NWO when it inevitably fails because all government totalitarian systems do. That's what the people who remain. That's what they wanted them to know
Yeah.
how to deal with it.
And to think about it, they said they wanted to reduce the population, what was it, down to 5 million or something like that. Okay, well, you think about it, they're talking about the world population. Do you know how many people you'd have to kill off to do that? Then they make the statement, and to keep the numbers from ever rising above that number again. Well, how would you keep that number from rising? Well, divide and conquer. Break up the family unit, divide the genders, make it so people can't get along, so the people are fighting each other. People ain't looking for what's really going on. They'd rather believe a lie than believe the truth. All of it's in your face. That's why I try to tell people we need to come together. And in the manosphere, I mean, you know how nuts it is to not be willing to stand together when we're all living the same damn thing? What have you got to lose? You're not going to change anything unless you start fighting back.
Well, I don't see how they would be able to reduce the population to only 500,000, considering the entire world is, well, especially Africa and Asia too, is still the population
Oh, yes.
growth rate is expanding. So I don't know really if that's their actual agenda. I think
I think so. I think the agenda is a lot of that, but I also think they realize they're not going to be able to make it without what? A major war, a major this, a major that. But they're doing a good job on reducing the numbers underneath your nose. There is less people being born. The numbers of TFLers are going up, and cancer's been curable for years and years and years, and they're never going to release it to you because they're making billions of dollars off of watching you die.
I mean, you can think whether that number referred to the population of Europe in, say, the mid part of the century, the actual European numbers of peoples. But the total world population is going up. It's going up to 10 billion, about half of whom will be from Africa. So I don't know if that's necessarily on their agenda, whether they care, because most of the resources are being spent in Europe and America. So
Yeah, unfortunately. But even if they don't, the thing is, they had Agenda 21 and that got delayed, didn't it? And it got delayed from people's not 100% on board with them, and there are people that resist them. You know what I'm saying? Which is exactly what should happen. But for the manosphere, I mean, we really got to come back together and we really got to change our mindsets because the reality is this dating. Let's go to the real truth, what they don't want you to hear. The dating scene. Dating was always meant to meet somebody to see if you could become friends of your opposite gender. Dating wasn't about meeting somebody to go get laid. It was about to see if you had things in common and could become friends. And the ones that were able to become friends dated each other over and over and over. And then pretty soon, if things were right, they would move on. They would become best friends and they'd fall in love. And if they had too many differences and they really liked each other as friends and the chemistry wasn't there was too many differences, they would stay friends and move on and look for somebody else that they would date. When the right one come along, then you would wind up becoming friends to best friends to you fall in love, you get together, you got a family, you raise kids. This is what dating was originally always about. And at one time, the majority of the population was hooked up. People didn't have problems. Okay, now you look at what's going on in today's society. Let's look at the reality. When I tell people to go back to the Leave It to Beavers days, I'm not telling you to relive it. I'm telling you to pay attention to the differences between then and now.
Yeah, exactly. But you're basically describing the natural state of affairs prior to all these social. Look at in the envelope in the sexual education of children. If you, I'm not sure if you're paying attention one now in Europe, but they're introducing this category called porn literacy, which is basically where they teach children about the utmost filth in existence, and it's just getting absolutely insane with what they're pushing
Yeah.
education and it's dictating how people, how the genders are going to relate to each other in the next generation.
Yeah. Well, you know, they're after
As
going
I
after the
say, this
children,
is
and that's no lie. That's factual. They're going after the children. You know, David Icke said something very, very, very good the other day. He mentioned about the 50 something genders that we supposedly have, which you all know if you got to have a brain don't exist. There ain't no way there's 50 something genders. Okay? But he brought that up. Then he brought up the transgender movement. And he said they don't care about the gays and the transgenders. The reason they're propping them up is because they want to create mass confusion. And when I think about that, they want to create mass confusion. It does make sense. Because look at what they've done to the dating scene. Didn't that cause confusion? You dang right it did. So they create confusion. That way, people, I mean, let's look, we got that, what, Desmond, what you call it? Okay, who runs around as a drag queen. So we got a little kid running around as a drag queen, dancing and shaking and stuff. Okay, and we do nothing about that crap. We're just sitting there accepting it. I have a troll trying to call my phone. Isn't that awesome? They do this once every Saturday night. They live in the Orlando, Florida area. Their name is Brandon Kirk. I just helped him out a little bit so y'all know who he is and roughly where he lives. Now I've said your name again. There's your attention for the night, troll. You just getting back?
hi, Bill. Yes.
Yep, my troll's trying to bother me with my phone again. That's no big deal.
Oh
I
yeah.
could push the button. I'll shut it off here in a minute. That'll take care of that problem too.
I thought it might be blue skies coming in, but you think
No,
there's more?
unfortunately, he don't have my phone number to call this number.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but he does have the information to come in, and if he does use it, he's going to come right into the chat box that you're in right now.
Hmm.
Okay, and so far he's not here. You know, and Mr. Hoka, well, he's still here, comfortably asleep. You know, that's the pitch. He laid down to do his live stream and fell asleep. I know what happened to him. Oh yeah, Trolloween, because off the grid's in here. But the reality is the stuff that I talk about political is the reason that we're in the situation we're in.
Yeah, the main point to stress, Bill, is that everything nowadays is top down. Everything is determined by government policy. Whereas back in the day, if you look at, say, the king and the royal family, that was kind of a reflection of what was happening on the ground. Like the family unit was reflected by the rulers. But these days, it's just a small number of elites who have power and who are dictating everything through the media. and that's the reality we live in.
That is correct. That is correct. And it is. It's a small number of people dictating everything for everybody else. And unfortunately, it's this small group of people who are responsible for social engineering that has divided the genders. And the mess that we're in now that leaves. I got shit in the back of my throat, so excuse me a second. That leaves us right where we're at. TFL getting bigger. More and more people can't even get one woman in their life. Okay, that's what's left us. Okay, men are angry at women, women are angry at men. We're blaming each other. You got people that get so angry, and I don't blame them for being angry. I'm not against Hell by the Dashboard Light at all for being angry. I just want Hell by the Dashboard Light to understand that it's not the people around him in the manosphere that's caused this problem. Hating on other men isn't going to make his problem go away. It's just going to add to his dilemma of being able to get a woman in his life. Because if she has brothers and other friends that she's known her whole life that are men, she's not going to want some guy who hates men because he blamed them for what's happened to him when it was never their fault. Okay? And so, that's not a good thing to begin with. And then when Blue Skies Media made the comment about even women who's going to friend zone me, I don't want to be just your friend. You only want to just be friends, and I don't want anything to do with you. You can stay away from me too, right? And the sad thing is that is social engineering that causes the woman to do this. She don't even realize that friendship is the foundation of a successful relationship. And this is where Hell by the Dashboard Light actually said he wanted a woman to be a friend. And I totally agree with that. At least he was headed the right direction. He actually got on the right road, which is more than I've seen anybody else do. Okay? And I hate to say that, but that's the truth. He got on the right road because if you're going to have a woman in your life, it starts with friendship. Real love comes from friendship, not the friend zone. That comes from women who have followed the lies and are doing what everybody else is doing and going along with the propaganda that's been fed to you. So you got to break through that propaganda and start using your own brain. Think outside the box. When you do that, you're going to be more successful at least understanding what's going on. Did I say it's going to get somebody in your life? As messed up as our world is now, when you get somebody in your life, you're going to have to worry about, are they a drama queen? Are they just lying to me and saying the words I want to hear? Because after all, we did put game into it, didn't we?
Yeah, but we're basically operating in this liberalized sexual marketplace, so-called, where women have absolutely all of the choice without any reference to any practical decision making. So they've got all the choice, men have none.
That's exactly
that,
right.
that means men are being pushed out absolutely en masse, more and more as time goes on.
Right. Well, right here, a commenter says, Chris Hansen says, true forced horniness. Well, that's
Yes, yeah, they,
I can laugh at what you're saying, but if you put sex first, don't plan on a meaningful relationship with anybody.
yeah, that is the opposite of what true forced loneliness is about. True forced horniness is an description of the incel community.
It is. That's exactly what that is.
Or at least based on what they say, they complain about nothing about the exact
Yep, that's
problem with this being pushed by the elites. They're basically just reflecting it right back to them. That is trying to get as much sex with as many women as possible. That's never what TFL's been about.
yeah.
Yeah, that's more accurate. True force, solitude. That seems to be the same thing as TFL, true force loneliness.
Yeah, that would actually be more accurate. True force loneliness has never been about getting laid or sex. This is where incel comes in. So that would be more incel because incel unfortunately falls on the labeling of men who just want sex. And if you say no, we want more than that, then you need to change your label because that stands for not getting sex. I think most people, most true TFLers will agree. Even Blue Skies Media would agree. What hasn't he said it to you many a times? He just wants one woman. And
Yeah, yeah, he
most
has.
people do. They just want one good woman that they're somewhat, at least on their own looks level, that would be interested in them, that they could become friends and become mates and be with and grow old with, what have you, and have their family and their children with. They're not asking for anything else. But of course, they're not allowed that, right?
But even the incels who constantly complain about not having any sexual partner, you can't really blame them because they're not being facilitated by the social norms. Like it is not complete norm throughout history for a man to have a regular sexual partner. And if they're denied that, you can see how it could drive them to it could basically make them completely crazy to the point where they think they need to have many
Well,
sex
that
partners.
that part is true.
But they really don't.
See,
They only all you need is one woman.
the sad thing is we've over sexualized society, and
Yeah,
people have
yeah,
actually
exactly.
they've actually replaced the word love with lust, and they don't even know they did. Okay, and it's
And it
sad, but
does,
that's the reality.
yeah,
That's what's happened.
it does need to be emphasized. This is top down. This is social engineering. This is coming from the elites. It's their policies, their media interruptions. That's
That's
where we
right.
get all of our ideas. That's where it all comes from. It's not coming from the ground up, like from
No, it's
genes,
coming
natural.
from media. It's coming from Hollywood.
Yeah,
This is where
yeah,
you're
yeah.
getting all of your beliefs. You get it from media and Hollywood and books that have been wrote by the same people. And this
And
is where you're getting your
yeah,
beliefs.
that's the main point you've been drilling in all these years, and which people tend to ignore and just say, "Oh, this is just biological, determined, or what have you."
Now, Wolf Martin asked me, he says, can you actually choose to be TFL? A person can be self produced TFL through their own actions, okay? And a person who chooses to be alone deliberately don't want to be with a woman, don't mean they're gay, but I don't consider them TFL neither. Because if you literally choose to be alone from the time you're young and don't really want to be hassled by anybody else, okay, you wouldn't be living TFL because you won't be bothered by not having your opposite gender.
Yeah, I do think there probably are such people, but the extreme minority, whereas the TFLers are a very large minority,
Exactly. That's exactly it.
and it's
And
growing all the time as things progress. It's getting more and more men in this situation.
yep, and unfortunately, it's only going to get worse. It's not going to
Yeah,
get better.
and at some point when it becomes a majority, that's the time we'll probably see things playing out in the political sphere, massive upheavals and so forth, pushing out against the NWO. At least I hope that's the case.
I would like to see people finally get mad enough to where they start standing together and start
Yeah,
pushing back. That's what I've been trying to get the manosphere to understand. That our common denominator, whether you're incel, whether you're man going your own way, forever alone, TFL, it doesn't matter because the common denominator is we're all having problems either not getting a woman in our life or we've been burned by a woman because she used you, threw you away, and dumped you on your butt. Okay? Just like guys are dead, guys want to come along and say, well, I'm going to get even and I'm going to do the same wrong behavior. And the elite don't mind if you do that because that keeps you off fighting.
Yeah. But even the so-called Chads, for example, they're still operating in a certain way, which is outside the family norm. As long as the family norm isn't the basis of the society, it would just be completely in tatters, and
Yes.
everything will eventually disintegrate to just a point of crisis.
Yeah. Well, they have pulled certain false flags, and I think the one of that gets to a couple of them really gets to me the most is the fact that they used to run me over up in Canada, and they used Elliot Rogers. And Elliot Rogers was an actor. His dad was the
Yeah, I do
director of
think that's
Hunger
clear.
Games. I posted a video up showing people Elliot Rogers with your top figures from Hollywood up on stage. I literally
Yeah.
showed people Elliot Rogers' involvement with Hollywood.
So they must think the people are really stupid if they pulled it off when those pictures were already out there.
Yeah, they do. Well, they do think people are stupid because people are not looking into stuff that's going on around them, and they're believing whatever the media is telling them. That puts you right where they wanted you. You wind up falling for lies and believing in lies really took place that never happened. And they get to use that lie to create laws to take more rights away from you, just like they're doing with hate speech.
Well,
So
the hate
it's,
speech laws are coming in very, very hard here. Like to put it into context, we had blasphemy laws here until about 10 years ago. Now they've changed it. Instead of trying to protect religion, they're just trying to protect their own current ideology.
yes. I wished it
Uh,
wasn't the way it was. I really do, because I'd love to see things turned around. But you're right. I've been screaming this message to people for years. And have you found anything that I've been screaming in here to be wrong yourself? Do you see
no,
where I've
in
lied to
fact,
anybody?
it's almost like the likes of you and Steve are like these prophets because you came out of nowhere. You've been talking about this stuff, and the more and more time goes on, the more and more mainstream the stuff you've been talking about becomes. Like TFL, it was completely fringe at the time when you started it. Now we see incel uh, completely being mainstream, being taken up by the mainstream outlets. So I
And
think the
that's
more and
not a
more
good
time
light.
goes on,
Yep, and you
yep,
watch Turd Flinging Monkey take TFL and lump it into the same category as incel and try to sell the world on the incel and TFL are one and the same when they're not and never have been. Okay? But that's because they want to demonize TFL so that if they pass laws against incel, they can also pass it against TFLers.
yeah, Bill, exactly. And the main difference between TFL and incel is it's basically a small picture versus a bigger picture. The TFL problem has very wide-ranging consequences for the whole civilization. Like if you aren't replicating the family through the generations, you're going to be done for, and there will be absolutely no limit to power. It will just
Yeah,
be a total dictatorship within 2 generations in the max,
you're
because
right.
the family is only uh, the only resistance to power is the family. That's all it comes down to.
That's really right because the family unit is what will make a country strong. You break down the family unit, you weaken the country. You get everybody fighting each other over every little fluff and stuff thing. They'll be too busy fighting each other to realize who the real enemy is, and they won't stand up to rise up or fight back. They won't put up a resistance. And this is why it's so important to get the manosphere on the same page because they need to understand what's actually happening to them. That's why I asked the question at the beginning of the show. Okay, that's why I asked that question. When's the last time some TFLers asked themselves, why is this happening? Why are people doing this? And of course, you can come up with a million reasons. You can use, well, monetary gain. You can use every excuse you want to, but it's not any of the above other than it's been socially engineered. That's the reason I keep showing people and using a pin as an example. One side of the ink pen is programming social engineering towards men, and the other side is social engineering towards women. Let's think about gender roles, just gender roles itself. Okay, gender roles told you that the man's responsible, the man's the provider and the protector. And what else has it done? Oh, well, it's up to the man to do all the approaching, all of this, all of that. What's the woman got to do? Oh, absolutely nothing. And then what else did we do? I understand there's differences between men and women, but we focused in on them differences and we made up differences that we pulled out of our annals and we fed it to the public and they fell for it all. And they actually believe there's that many differences between a woman and a man when there's not. Because if there was as many differences as they reported, you could have never got a woman pregnant to have a kid. What that was about was dividing us, making us fight, making us not get along. You want somebody that wears the pants in the house, right? Okay. So when you got somebody that wears the pants in the house, what you're really saying is they're a slave. See, everybody wants to control somebody else, but nobody wants to be controlled themselves. Do you see anything wrong with that picture? You should. Because I don't know anybody that likes to be told what they can and can't do. When they're an adult, they don't want to be told by another adult what they're allowed to do. You can reason with people if you got a partner. You can compromise. You ever heard of compromise? You're both human beings. You can compromise. You're not, nobody ever always agrees. That's not possible in any relationship. So, when you really look at the whole crux of the thing, what's important is for people to know where the problem come from. That's what's important.
Well, I know you and Warren have often disagreed on the issue of gender roles and the patriarchy, but I do think a strong degree of differentiation between the sexes is very much necessary for civilization to flourish.
I
And
understand
what we're
that.
seeing now is
Warren and
what
I've
we're s-
actually talked off, well, not on video or our live streams about this. And we do come to a mutual agreement in a lot of ways there because gender roles is definitely man made. It's not in your DNA, okay? It's not in your DNA that you're an ATM machine for a female. That's a man made thing, okay? So you're not going to tell me your DNA said that you owe because you don't. But there are stuff that is, I do believe is true. The problem with gender roles is it actually designs the role. So let's think about it for a moment. If you was going to pull a massive psyop, you would and control people. You designed roles for women and designed roles for men, and you put people in these categories. Now, when it comes to the workplace, overall, I agree with what most people say. Okay, because there are jobs that women emotionally probably wouldn't be able to do or wouldn't want to do that men do. I agree upon these things. I have no problem with that. My only really focus on gender roles is it was man created, okay? And that the fact is you don't owe somebody a living because based on your penis, okay? I'll
but the
never agree
idea,
with that. So,
yeah,
but go
the
ahead.
idea behind gender roles is that the man is dominant in society and the woman is dominant in the home, in the private sphere versus the public sphere, which is the man's sphere. So that creates the balance, and it's only that balance which can stave off the authoritarian government. Whereas what we're experiencing today is quite evidently uh, the government trying to completely destroy all differentiation between the sexes, trying to neutralize them into just one consumer productive uh, unit, like a single individual um, who's just going to run a completely homogenous system throughout the world, one world order, instead of ethnic identity and gender roles. That would be completely done away with. And it's this force we're trying to resist if we're going to resist anything.
Right. Oh, well, we know he's still sleeping. I heard the snore.
Was that Steve?
Yes, that was. I heard the snore, so we know he's still sleeping. I wanted to check in on him. That didn't take long.
Can you call him or anything, trying to wake him up?
Well, I don't know that he'd wake up for his phone. Because I've caught him
Yeah.
before, and most of the time he just ends up going to the voicemail. So I get
And
his machine, and he'd still be snoring.
what about Warren? Is he coming on or?
Well, hopefully he shows up here in a little bit. I don't know if he's tuned in, if he's late getting home, or if he's tuned in and don't hear blue skies. That's why he's not showing up. I know he did say he'd come on. I'd hate to see him stand me up after saying he'd be here, but he was really looking forward to the chance to talk to Blue Sky. And as you can tell, Blue Skies didn't show up, so there's nothing I can do about that. Just means you can't take him at face value. I believe he's TFL, but for whatever reason, he's changed his mind about coming on the live stream. Okay, which is sad. He could still be stuck in that mode that I don't like men, I don't want anything to do with it, blah, 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 which is only cutting his own throat. Because he's hurting himself. He's not going to hurt anybody else. He's hurting himself. He's taking more chances away from himself from meeting somebody. And he's making his own life harder.
Well, he has widowed a woman, so that is the worst possible of all worlds. Even if you lost someone or they broke up with you, to actually have them die
That's
would be
worse, yes.
unthinkable.
That's like unthinkable. That's correct. He has a very bad situation, and then to walk right from that into TFL, that's real. I mean, it had to eat him up.
So those videos where he suggested he might be thinking of going like full Elliot Roger, it's understandable in his case.
Well, I would agree with Steve from Texas is saying. Okay, he thinks that Blue Skies Media don't understand the aspects of social engineering and NWO. I agree with him on that. After listening to Blue Skies last night, I know he's truly a TFLer, but I also know that he's not awake to social engineering. He sees through a little bit of shit that's corruption in the government and so on, but overall he's not awake to what's really caused his problems. And I don't know that I would want to shove that down his throat right away, because that could send him over the edge even worse. Think about it. As bad off as he is right now, if he realized that this was engineered, and his chances are like so many other men's, it's only going to escalate his depression. But sooner or later, he's going to have to come to grips with it, because we're not going to change it. Knowing the reality is what's important, and then stopping throwing each other underneath the bus, and to start standing together and working together is what has to happen. If all the TFLers around the world could stand together, we could put up a good resistance.
Well, I do think that is happening through the in the political sphere, to the dissident right movement. It's not quite like not Donald Trump conventional style, but a decade down the line, you do see a very strong resistance to the establishment forming, to the internet at least, on all the different aspects, like MGTOW and TFL,
Yeah.
and way beyond that. So I do think there will be this upheaval, this uprising against NWO in the next few years.
Social engineering is not a pussy pass, but it's been used as a pussy pass, hasn't it? Because social engineering demonizes men. We got 30, 40 years worth of male shaming all over the media. Okay, and you're not going to see that said about women, are you? You know, and it was deliberately done because they want to make men angry at women, and they want women to be angry with men. That's the part that's deliberately done. You know, the old cliche, divide and conquer, does wonders, doesn't it? So how about going against the grain and figuring out that we're all living the same shit from these psychopaths, and that we all need to rise up against them? And then as TFLers, we got enough of us worldwide that we could really make a good shove back.
Yeah, exactly, Bill. If you look at the cinema today, it's gone way past the point of ridiculousness. Like it's solely pushing race war and male bashing and every ridiculous thing.
It is. And how people ain't seeing this when this is exactly what's going on. I mean, you're right. Today's society is so in your face. The stuff I've been screaming for years just keeps playing itself out after people thought I was nuts, said I was nuts, blew me off, turned their back. They didn't make it go away. They became complicit and allowed it to happen. A lot of the stuff I've talked about over the years is playing out in your face right now. And now they're just playing in your face. Are you going to still keep turning your back? I mean, you know, you really can't be complaining about what's happening to you if you're not willing to look for the real cause and rise up and, you know, and cause resistance against that cause. Well, the feminist was another tool used, yes. You know, just think outside the box and use your own brain. And think with care. In other words, do something that people ain't doing. Have actual care for other people and recognize what's really right and what's really wrong. By examining your own self and what you would never want done unto you or said to you or treated, you wouldn't do to somebody else. And if you do that, you can figure out right and wrong real quick.
No, I do think what TradCon is getting at is true that feminism is right at the center of all the problems, and that's the breakdown of the family.
Yes.
But you'd have to say that you can't talk about the breakdown of the family without the break of traditional gender roles. Those were, in fact, the building blocks of the family. The distinction
Well,
between
the
the
gender roles was the building blocks, but the actual real building blocks came from understanding what you were doing in the dating scene. Okay, understanding that men and women had to become friends. And that's what dating was about. Okay, it wasn't about getting laid. That was just another tool used to skew you so you go the wrong direction. You know, Warren and I have a few disagreements, but we never disagree to hate each other. We always disagree to disagree. We agree to disagree. And we re-talk some of the stuff we disagree on. And some of it we even came to conclusions to understand each other better. But that's the way it should be, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Because I'm my own individual, just like my guest here is his own individual. And we're not here hating on one another, even if we disagree. He can give his opinion, I can give mine. And the people listening can take their opinion on what we said, on which way they think it is. And you're not going to be wrong regardless of which way you go because you're your own individual too.
So, say when feminists go on about the patriarchy, do you agree that the patriarchy was an oppressive force in history?
The patriarchy.
Yeah,
Oh, that
because
they
that
were
was the
for they
enforce.
were okay. Yeah, the patriarchy. So though you're talking about men, right? We
Yeah,
were
well,
the we were the oppressive force.
yeah, that was the force that instilled gender roles in society. So, do you
Well,
think that was?
I would agree that when they want to say men, I would say a handful of men at the top. I can't go any further than that because it'd be a wrong statement.
So you don't think that the patriarchy is the force that creates civilization? You think it's a subversive element?
Well, I would say it's more of the patriarchy helps, but it depends on if you're being honest. Because honesty to me would be understanding both men and women are human beings. Understanding we do have differences that I agree to, but also understanding that a man and woman must become friends. Because how would you have a good relationship if you can't even be friends?
But don't the PUAs say that men and women can't be friends?
Well, of course, the pickup artist industry, which is problem reaction solution, says that. I mean, the government, the globalists create the problem. They wait for our reaction, then they give us phony solutions. They give you the pickup artist industry, and if that was so great and successful, well, it was. They made a lot of money off men who can't get a female, and you still can't get a female. Well, that was a great cure, wasn't it? But at least they made their money off you, right?
Well, that is the main agenda.
See, so they still kept you divided, didn't they? They wouldn't want you being friends.
That's why they wanted the women in the workforce, pure taxation purposes.
Taxation purposes and to help break down the family. It had two purposes.
Well, yeah, that was the wider agenda, but
Yeah.
in
But
practical terms, it was just to tax the women.
and then when you over sexualize society and you flip the roles upside down and you flip the foundation of a relationship upside down on its head, then you get what you're seeing now.
But at this stage, we don't have any gender roles, and many people, such as Tradcon there in the chat, would see that as the problem. Or
Well,
do you
you're
think?
not. I don't know that we're going to be able to get the gender roles back because we have people out here who want to say women shouldn't have the right to vote.
Yeah, that's certainly debatable because the entire what we call the left, the liberal left, that's mostly the source of the problem, and it's mostly being has been caused by women gaining better, more and more prominence publicly. So they've really shifted the political window in their favor. They gain more and more power.
Well, yeah.
So
And
yeah,
then
so
they
women's
gain more
prominence.
and more powerful women. So we went with the patriarchy, which is more about gender roles. I agree to it on the extent of I don't think that you should be put in a situation where, when you want to say, okay, the man's going to be the dominant outside in the workplace and the woman's going to be the dominant in the house, and the majority of men isn't in a dominant position in their job, okay? So if the majority of the women aren't in a position in their job, okay, then you have to really think about it. So in other words, what you're saying is if a man's on the job and he's just a regular laborer and he's following some other man's orders all day long, right? So if that happens, let me see. I got something coming in. I got to figure out what this is. Ding, ding, ding. They're breaking my train of thought here. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, you're talking about men working all day, but if men are dedicated to work and women child raising, that's technically equal labor. It's equally as important because it focuses
Yeah, but a
on
man's out
generation.
there. But
So
a man's out there working and bringing in the bread, right? And she's the dominant one in the house, right? My problem with dominant becomes that people want to be the other one's boss. Okay? But I also understand that neither gender wants to be bossed around. So I
yeah,
think people go about
but
it the
at the
wrong
same
way.
time, Yeah, at the same time, though, women are tend to be the boss in the home. Women tend to dominate the home. They fix interior design and so forth. So it's only a balancing act to have men be dominant in the public, financial and public vocational sphere. So it's kind of a balancing act between the two, man and woman. That's traditional gender roles.
Yeah, and wouldn't you say
But what
we see more and more women taking them positions nowadays?
Yeah, exactly. So they're bleeding too much into the public productive sphere, and the private reproductive sphere is kind of they still are dominant there, but they're also gaining dominance publicly. So it's creating a massive, massive imbalance that women are gaining far too many power publicly and privately, and that's the cause of all the imbalance we see in terms of the sexes.
Right. I got somebody who sent me a friend's request here,
Oh yeah, is
which
it Warren or
no, Warren would come in because he don't have a mic and a cam. So if Warren comes in, he's just going to suddenly start talking. Okay. And I'm not going to say he won't yet because he could, but I already expected he'd be here by now. Okay. So we have Steve Sleep, and I have somebody else who sent me a friend's request, which I accepted, but they're not answering my typing to them. So until they answer and say what who they are, at least give me a little indication, I'm not going to bring them in. If they want in the live stream, they need to open their mouth to me in the chat so I know a little bit who they are, because I'm not going to bring a troll in. You know how that goes.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So,
You know.
Tradcon in the chat, Tradcon is saying that the Muslims are superior culturally to the West. What would you say to that?
The
Now, it's true that,
Muslims are superior.
yeah, well, they at least you could say that they have a bottomed up culture. They come straight from their own culture. They're not being manipulated by any social engineering from above, from politics. They have their own religious society,
Well,
and
you
is
know
that not
what? I would
is that
have
not
to.
true?
I don't know enough to say one way or the other on that because do I actually live over in their country, in their land, to know how they really are? No, I don't.
Yeah. Well, truly, it's obviously they're very extreme, but maybe in the West we had a greater balance in the past. But in any
Yeah,
case, we've definitely moved over to the complete opposite extreme from the Muslims, where there's just no gender roles, no differentiation between the sexes, and it's just pure chaos. Whereas them, they have a very tight order based on their religious
yeah. Well, I think we should
doctrine.
have gender roles, but I think people need to re-examine their dominant roles because dominant roles have been manipulated and twisted into I am the boss of the family or I am the boss and you do as I say. Okay. But nobody wants to be spoke down to that way. I don't care what gender it is. Human nature is if you're a grown adult, you don't want to be spoken down to that way. You don't want to feel that you're the slave to your partner. Okay. Nobody wants to feel that way. And that's the reason I disagree with some of it. Okay. It was for that reason only. It has nothing to do with gender roles not helping society or the patriarchy. It has to do with the way we are treating one another. Because even in today's society, let's look at our behaviors and how we treat one another. You are successfully giving the elite their wants because they don't mind us abusing each other at all. It keeps us all divided.
Yeah, but the problem I had with that is that human society is always going to be completely hierarchical, and it's just a matter of what kind of hierarchy you have. If it's based on the family and something like the monarchy, it it seems to make more sense. You seem to get elevation of the female and just total disintegration.
Okay, I want to give this guy a chance. Okay, If he tries to troll, of course, we will remove him. He'll
I'm sure
discover.
he's just someone from the chat.
Yeah, most likely. But I have to say that when they use funky names, just because. I have had a person call in here before to get my information, and their whole purpose was to troll the show. And I removed them right away. And also blocked them off my list and removed them. So it didn't do them any good. And that's pretty much what I'll do to anybody that does that. If you're real,
Yeah,
man, I'll leave you alone.
There have been a few trolls in your chats I've seen recently.
Yeah. And so that's the reason I don't just trust. I give them a chance, and they have to earn their keep by being real. That's all.
But like you've said before, TFLers are usually the most real.
They are.
And
TFLers
out of the
seem to be the
manosphere.
most honest out of the whole manosphere. They're the most honest, and they're real. Okay, they're not going to come up here and bullshit. They say what they feel. Just like Ron and I are talking right now, or Warren and I talk. We're talking over a topic that I have a different feeling about, and he has his feeling about it. I'm okay with that because that's the way it's supposed to be. And if you show me something different, okay, I'm fine with that as long as you can do it in a respectful way. Okay, so there's my guy right there. So because somebody don't agree with you, don't make them a troll. Well, I never said you was a troll. I just said by the name, I'm going to make sure they're not troll. That's all. If they troll, I'd remove them. That's all I ever said. If they don't troll, they'll stay here forever. How's that? Okay, so they're with us. Okay, so go ahead and speak. I don't, I'm not here to throw you out. And I'm not going to, because you have a different opinion. You have a right to your opinion. So does he got a mic? You're here in the chat. Okay, I've brought him into the chat. I don't hear him talking. But he is in. He is in the show, but he's not saying a thing. Give him a chance.
This is the guest from the chat.
Yeah, the G off Smith. If you look at the Zoom window that you're in, you'll see him. He's sitting here, but I don't know if he's got a mic or what, because it's not even showing a mic. So he can go ahead and speak anytime. Otherwise, we have a guest in the show that's a listener.
Hello.
There you are. I hear you.
Who's all here tonight?
And it's Warren. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing? Who's with us tonight?
Hey, you Warren.
Hello?
Hi, Warren. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing? Just got in.
It's
just
just
got
me.
off work.
Yeah, it's just me here. Steve was here before we could hear him snoring.
Steve Hoka fell asleep on us, and Blue Skies Media never showed up.
Oh yeah.
Which is sad because I wanted to see him show up.
Maybe it was just too short notice. Maybe he'll show up next week or something.
Well, he has the information and he can show up anytime, on Saturday if he wants, anytime. I won't stop it. I would love to have him on. Okay? And I hoped he would tonight. He said he would make it, but maybe something else come up.
Who knows? Could be anything. Could be any number of things.
But I think you know who our guest is. He's followed us for a long time, Warren, and he knows you.
Who is it?
Let him know who you are.
Yeah, no, Warren, we've talked on the chat before, in the radio show before live streams were out.
Jeff Ashton.
If you remember me, I think we had a bit of a disagreement. We were talking about a subject. Like you had a you were talking about something esoteric and we disagreed.
I don't remember. What's your name?
It was way back when. I'm Ron Fan.
Your name's what?
On YouTube, it's Ron Fan.
Ron Fan. Oh, okay. Yeah, that seems
Yeah,
familiar
you
now.
remember? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was about, man. To be honest. Oh yeah, it was about the whole it had something to do with the whole Jewish thing.
Yeah,
that
you
it?
were. It was Manly P Hall. Remember, you had a. You were talking about his book.
Oh yeah. About
And,
yeah.
the secret teaching of all ages, and we had
Yeah.
a disagreement there. But anyway, it's all good. We're here now. I'm very happy to see you here. I love listening to you when you're on the show. So
Yeah.
it's an honor to talk to you.
Yeah. Work tonight, man, was fucking crazy, man. But yeah, I don't want to go into that. You know how it is working restaurants, man, busting tables, and then you get down to the last hour, and people just keep wanting to pour in the door in the last hour.
But where do you live, Warren? You live in like the southern United States?
Yeah, I do. I live in North Carolina.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, our other guest has muted his mic and he's not talking. So he's came into the show to not talk.
Oh yeah, you know who it is?
I couldn't tell you the
No, I'm
first.
sure it's the guy who came into the chat earlier on when I was coming in. Someone else said they'd be on their way.
He's G off Hanley. I do believe right here at the bottom of the chat.
Well, I'm not really on the chat page right now. Hold
Right.
on, let me dig it up.
Or GL Smith, not Hanley, Smith.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, he seems to be an unknown. I don't recognize that name.
I don't recognize the name, but I gave him a chance. But, you know, if he's not going to talk or anticipate, then, you know, I don't know why he's here. He can listen over there.
Yeah, it's kind of suspicious, man. It kind of makes you wonder, don't it?
Yeah. I mean, you know, all he has to do is talk and introduce himself and go on. But if he's not going to do that, then he really don't need to be in here, and I'll remove him. Because if he's just going to listen to the show, you can do it over there. You don't need to be in here. Hey, I see Warburg is here. I haven't seen him in a long time. Hope things are going good for him.
Yeah.
I was so sad because Blue Skies didn't show up, but you know.
Yeah.
But you still think he's legit, Bill?
Well, I think he's TFL. I don't think he's I think after listening to him for over 2 hours last night, I do believe he's actually legit.
I mean,
He's
it was
TFL.
a loose connection. It was a loose connection to Forever Alone Monday. It was he only made a video response to him. So, well, Blue Star Forever Alone Monday is probably a plant.
Yeah,
I don't
he
think
is.
I don't think that's true of Blue Skies Media.
You know, the thing about it is I was the one that brought it up to Bill that he might be a plant at first when I first looked at it too. And this was before anybody else picked up on it. I just seen all the damn signs all over the place. I've been doing this for like 20 years, and I know when I'm looking at a plant.
Well,
You know
that
what
was
I'm
the
saying?
thing
Professionally was
with Monday Forever Alone Monday. I saw that.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's too professional. He's too professional. The guy's a plant.
And another guy's way too professional. He blew up way too big and way too short of a time, but you got to keep an eye on facing LMS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the reality is anybody that's got a whole bunch of people up on YouTube and don't get taken down, you can guarantee they're an employee of the establishment, whether they want to admit to it or not.
Well, they blow up is so big in such a short period of time that's not necessarily, but that's a 90% giveaway. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you know.
And at this stage, he has his girlfriend. You heard he changed his name to Chad Monday. Chad.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that was about, but it's definitely she was exactly like him. She seemed too well spoken. It's like an actor or something.
My theory on it is he's been going out with her the entire damn time, man. He just at some point decided, hey, I'm gonna come forward with it out like we just hooked up. I could be wrong, but I don't think he was ever really. See, the thing is, he knew the right things to say. Now, how did he know the right things to say when he's not a TFLer himself? That's because these people, a lot of these folks are trained to know what to say. They're trained to know how to reach their audience and shit, and
Yeah.
neuro-linguistic programming and all that other shit.
I mean, he never acknowledged Bill because this is like the next generation of True Force Loneliness when it's becoming mainstream and the elites are kind of getting interested. So he comes onto the scene.
Yeah. No, he never acknowledged me, period.
Yeah. That's another way too. When it comes to the manosphere, when it comes to like incels and TFL, I mean, I can't say that's 100% across the board because Turkling Monkey was a MGTOW and he was an agent and
Yeah, like
he was able
San
to acknowledge TFL. So I can't say that's 100% across the board. But when you look at some of these guys like Monday FA Money, some of these forever loans and incels and stuff like that, if they're not willing to acknowledge TFL, that could be a sign.
I mean, just look at Sandman. Does anyone think Sandman is legit? Can you seriously think Sandman is legit if you have any wherewithal about you?
I don't think so.
Yeah, some of the MGTOWs will call it out, will mention it. I mean, so you got to bear in mind too, MGTOW I don't think is as mainstream as the incel thing came out to be.
Well, the incel thing is being used as a weapon against the manosphere. The incel and MGTOW thing, they came out and did their job on it. They don't need to do no more. They destroyed MGTOW.
Yeah.
And Sandman, I think, is most likely he could be an agent. He could be a employee of the establishment. Okay, he's very well professionally spoken. He's after money.
Yeah.
And if he's
But
not
I mean,
an
he's
employee of the
reading off a script,
establishment,
so
yeah. If he's not an employee of the establishment, he's got some kind of training behind him, and he's reading off these scripts and he's using it to make money. But I don't think he's here for the right reason.
Yeah.
it's not even the fact he's reading off a script, it's how banal the things he's saying versus the amount of subscribers he's getting.
Yeah, I haven't looked at his subscribers recently because I don't really like the guy. I remember a long time ago he attacked TFL and said it didn't even exist.
He's a TFLer himself. The funny thing about Sandman, he's about as aspy as I am. You can tell because of the way he talks. He's got like a very almost monotone, almost like robotic sort of tone. Like he's got a very repetitive rhythm in the way he talks. You know, like listen to him talk, man. Like listen to the way that's an aspy trait, bro. And if he's an aspy, that pretty much signifies 9% sure he's TFL.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the charge that's been led against him by anyone who's listened to him. He's like, but the main suspicion is how he got to that, how he grew his channel to that size. Like, if you look at Bill can't get past 1,000 subscribers without getting banned.
Yeah.
So what he's saying must be right with the establishment for that to happen.
Elliot Rogers was staged. Yeah, Elliot Rogers was staged, man. You just got to look at the homework, man. First off, look who his father was, bro. His father directed The Hunger Games. He was a famous movie producer. He grew up in a rich house. Okay, he grew up, Hollywood and all that stuff. It's not that far fetched to think that he would be a staged actor.
Yeah.
I mean, just put the pieces together.
Well, if anyone
Hey,
stages,
Bill.
it's Elliot.
You know?
Yep. I heard
Hey,
somebody
Bill, you
coming.
got one more. You got one more in here.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
How
Hey,
you
no
doing?
problem. What's up, guys?
How you doing?
Good. All right.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, guys? Warren. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, man?
All right. A little kind of a little bit of a boring, quiet night. So I thought I'd join in here a little bit, for a little while anyway.
Yeah, Steve's gone. He's asleep.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
that's kind of too bad we lost Steve there.
Yeah, I think Steve was laying down to do his show and he unfortunately fell asleep.
Yeah. He might have had a long day at work. Who knows?
Oh, that's what I feel. I think he was just a long day. He was tired and he didn't realize it. He was gone. Shit happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That would be him. Yeah. Yeah, he's still snoring away. So I'll let him sleep in peace.
Yeah, it's kind of too bad about that Blue Skies media. It's not too late, but it would have been kind of interesting to see what what he had to say.
Yeah, what he says, it would have been the ultimate tell to whether he's legit or not. Like it would have been definitive.
Yeah, I think he is.
Because Bill's had this suspicious, but
yeah.
This Chris Hansen keeps saying he don't believe the ER is fake, and you don't got no proof that he was fake.
Who's that? Elliot Rogers?
Yeah, Elliot Rogers, yeah.
I've already showed the proof, and if he's not smart enough to go look, that's his problem.
no, that was Elliot Rogers was the standard of false flags, pretty much.
Yeah. Elliot Rogers had Asperger's, and that makes his speech seem fake. No, you don't know what you're talking about. You haven't watched. I've already shown everybody. I can show you up on Hollywood stage with major producers. Elliot Rogers. The guy just Chris Hansen has no idea what he's talked about. He's never looked into a damn thing when it comes to it. He just wants to believe the lie. That's his prerogative. You can believe the lie to blue in the face. I really don't care.
Yeah.
That comes with not looking for yourself and actually taking the time to look. I'm not going to argue with people that never did
most of these shooters, the majority of them were staged. There's only a few of them that weren't. George Sedini's the main one that comes to mind. A lot of them, even if they weren't staged, I tell you what, man. Even if it's not staged, the government's still going to use it for leverage. They're going to still use it to get their agenda across.
Well, yeah, now he's trying to claim he used to talk with Elliot Rogers. He wants us to believe that he knows Elliot Rogers now. I have trouble believing that. Sorry.
The other thing about the Elliot Rogers case, it was inundated with that, with a boatload of crisis actors, pushing gun legislation right after that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, I won't even go there with this guy. Okay, I just won't go there with him.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. If Monday's not a plant, man, how many normies do you know that understand the incel issue well enough to be able to pass for an incel? I mean,
unless
think
someone
about
who's
that,
infiltrated the movement.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's all completely scripted. That's why One Day Forever Alone Monday was so suspicious. He knew everything.
Yeah.
He knew the ins and outs of the movement, yet he didn't seem like he'd be a part of it himself.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, people don't understand that Google took ownership of YouTube. Google is in bed with the CIA and Hollywood both. They have no problems with bringing actors onto YouTube because YouTube is your new TV set. It's part of Hollywood. We don't have problems bringing military, media, industrial complex into YouTube because if you don't believe that, you can go look. You'll find out it's real. Okay? So the reality is they keep pulling strings over people's faces. People want to believe the lies, and they'll argue to their grave over a lie, but won't go do any looking for themselves.
Mhm.
You know, and right behind Elliot Rogers, you blew it up all over the media and you went after guns. No different than anything else, just like the school shootings, everything else, you know. And I'm not even going to go into that with people because the reality is you're not the very first, but the major one at an elementary school, that was as phony gets.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, too many people fell for that too.
Oh yeah, Sandy Hook was definitely the standard. Flags. Elliot Rogers was second to it.
Yes.
That Toronto guy. I mean, you can believe in whichever way you want, but the fact he mentioned true force loneliness, I think, is a red flag that he's trying to bring down the whole incel TFL sphere.
Yeah.
They're already interested
That's
in it
really what that comes down to. So you're correct about that, Ron.
because they know the longer things go on, the more attention that will be brought to the whole issue. So they want to snuff it out quick.
Mm.
And unfortunately, you know, as long as people turn their backs, they have the right to turn their back. But you can't complain if you keep turning your back because the reality is TFL is real. People know this. TFL is getting bigger, not smaller. And unless people put up a resistance, it ain't going to change. It's only going to get worse. They're going to get their wants because it's like they said a long time ago. We're going to tell you what we're going to do, and we're going to do it. And you're going to do nothing about it.
Yeah.
And that's really what's
exactly
going on.
Exactly. That's the worst thing people can do is just say, stay silent. That's what they want everybody to do.
Yeah.
But do you think it's an accident that I've lost 3-4 channels? Do you think it was an accident that I had a green light come through my window, my Skype signal scrambled, and then lost my job because of my videos, and then had the feds at my door just to have a bullshit talk with me and then leave? What do you think? All that was just an accident, huh? You think they
Exactly, Bill. You're exactly where you want to be. You want to be small and just getting out to a few people who care really. Because if you grow into the thousands, you're gone. We've seen it absolutely clearly of late with the YouTube censorship and beyond.
Yeah, they would take me out. They've already taken me out on channels, and they've already thrown scare tactics at me. They've done a number of things to me over the years for doing what I'm doing, but I'm still here doing it. Okay?
Yeah.
But the reality is, I haven't lied to anybody. Because even Ron told people earlier in here, he's been watching for a long time, and I've been screaming a lot of stuff for a long time that all has played out in your face, and I said it before it happened. And it wasn't because I was psychic, it's because I was paying attention to what was going on. While you were
It's
calling
amazing.
while they were calling a
Yes.
conspiracy theorist and calling me names, they wasn't looking and just sitting back on a fence and watching, and I was.
You know.
Mm.
Well, like I said, I mean, it's not really that hard to prove there's a conspiracy. They don't really hide it that well. Man, they pretty much put it out in plain sight because they got everybody so trained to believe that it's impossible. It can't happen here. We're magical little snowflakes, and you know the laws of history couldn't possibly apply to us. You know, so no matter how many red flags are around us, no matter how many signs are repeating themselves, oh well, we're immune to that because we're magical little snowflakes.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
But it's becoming more visible as time goes on. Everything that Bill's been saying, like he's seeming less crazy by the year. So at the end of this, it's like he'll become a prophet or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas in
Yeah, Bill. Yeah, Bill.
2007, he seemed crazy, but now he seems more and more to be
I've
just
been
reflecting the
I've been
truth.
saying a lot of this stuff for the past 20.
Yeah, you
maybe,
too, Warren. Yeah,
Warren has
Steve
been
and
saying, Warren has said a lot of truth over a lot of years. Steve has said a lot of truth. And myself, I've said a whole lot of truth. And, and Warren and I, when we first met, Warren didn't know who I was. He didn't trust me. No more than I trusted him. Okay. But when we really got to know each other, we realized that we're actually pretty much on the same level with a lot of stuff. Okay.
you know.
And it was
What
sort of like we
happened?
met in the middle.
What happened was I had all the knowledge of the occult, the New World Order, and all that other stuff. He had a lot of knowledge of the manosphere and the dating scene. So we met in the middle, and we kind of like traded off. And we both helped each other out, you know. So that's how that happened.
Well, people for years couldn't figure out why I was doing dating topics and New World Order topics. Well, that's because New World Order topics is directly involved in the dating scene. They think it's an accident that Chelsea Clinton's on the board for tender, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill. It just still amazes me how many stops they've tried to pull out. To shut you down, and you still keep chugging along there.
I still keep coming
Yeah.
back, yes. Even when they went on Facebook
Yeah.
that time, they realized I didn't have a Facebook account. My son did. And I didn't take it from him. But, when he come up at me and he tells me, Dad, who's Cassie Dill? And see, my son, when he was a child growing up, I didn't have him around me when I was doing videos or anything. He did not know no Cassie Dill. Now, Warren knows who Cassie Dill is, right?
Yeah.
And so here's my son. When I looked into it, a friend's request was sent from my son's Facebook account to Cassie Dill from him at 2:30 in the morning when we were both in bed. Well, my son didn't know Cassie Dill, so he didn't send that friend invite. So
but
you mean just
yeah,
magically
these
Facebook sent it, huh?
days they literally just can deplatform you on all the websites. So you should be glad that you're at least still up because you're so small now. You're on TFL at War on your YouTube channel.
Well, they
You've
keep me
only
small. I think they keep me small.
But that's where you want to be, Bill. Seriously, because other people have been just completely deplatformed from all forms of media on the internet.
Yeah. Once you get too much, then they'll just block you by your IP and take you out completely. And then if you change your IP and come back on them, they'll take you out again. Then they'll start doing other stuff. I mean,
So at least
after
all
that
the
green light came through my window and I had the feds at my door, it was like 2 weeks later, and a friend of mine over in Germany had that same green light come through his window. Well, it just so happens at the time all that took place, him and I were talking, and I had a paid Skype account, and I was calling him using Skype on his phone in his house, and we were talking. And he kept trying to get me to move over to Germany where he lives and be his roommate in his flat, right? Okay? But my son was still too young and I couldn't do that, right? Well, they put that green light through his window, knowing he don't make videos, knowing he would tell me, but he was smarter than them. He grabbed his damn cam that had a long cord on it and caught the guy on video a block away, stooped next to a tree with this funky looking gun thing on his shoulders, shooting that green light into his window.
Yeah, no, I've heard you tell that story before, but the most important thing is at least all the long termers can find you always, because you could be completely removed. They don't just remove you to your main account; they also delete your second and third accounts or any other ones you have up. So as long as like the long termers can find you, that's what really matters.
Yeah, well, the guy that was going to come into my show, he said he didn't have a mic. He'd join next week, right? Then he started leaving comments about I call everybody agents and this and that and that. So then I realized he was a troll, so I removed him. And then the goofy Hanson came up and says, "Oh, talk about blocking people, which means they're one and the same. This idiot was logged into this chat using two different names with Goofy. Okay, this Goofy shit. And
Yeah.
I've just removed both of them, and I took him off of my contacts list. See, I warned you, if you try to troll me, you're gone. You don't listen. See how gone you are?"
Yeah.
Mm. Oh, you know the old saying, Bill, you can't beat a dead horse with a, you know.
We got a third one in here, okay, with the same name again. And because I don't trust that name no more, I don't know how many more
Yeah.
accounts you can make, but go ahead and make another one, okay? Because you're gone too.
It's probably a troll.
Yeah. It's 3 people with the same name, so now they're all gone. How's that?
Yeah.
I don't play with trolls, I just remove them. You know, unfortunately, some of these could be government trolls. You do realize that they could actually be YouTube employees trolling us.
Yeah, they are out there, no doubt.
I'm not saying they are, but they could be. We got somebody playing in water.
Yeah.
But hey, I appreciate you being here, Dave. So
Yeah, no problem.
how long have
Yeah,
you
not
been?
a
How
problem.
long have you been tuning in?
Oh, tonight?
Yes.
Yeah, I tuned in probably about maybe just after you came on, probably about maybe 20 minutes after you came on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I see that
Yeah.
Chris Hansen says laughing at me for calling same government trolls. Like he don't believe that the government or YouTube don't have
Well,
people trolling.
listen to this. Listen to this, Bill. He says, let's go find the victims' families and call them and ask if they were fake. Well, do you suppose maybe the so-called family members were fucking plants too? I mean, you know, there's a thing. You can go look this up. It's called the Screen Actors Guild, bro. And this is a mainstream organization. This isn't no conspiracy theory or nothing. It's a mainstream organization. You can go look on their site. And they tell you they hire out crisis actors to businesses and organizations and government agencies. They tell you that on their website.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's so much out there. It's very easy to back that up too if you just want to just take a few minutes to research it. It's there.
So Ron, are you back with us?
Yeah, Bill, I'm here.
Okay, we're getting a lot of background noise, so I just want to know if you're done.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah. Just it's quite late on this end of the pond, so
yeah, that's correct. But when you're over there, it is.
Yeah, would you say you're over in Ireland, Ron?
Ireland, yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay. What time now? What time is it over there? What are you guys about?
Probably
Probably about 5 o'clock in the morning.
5, yeah.
Wow.
We're 5 hours ahead of whatever it is in New York.
Yeah, you're about, that's where I am. I'm in the New York area. Well,
Oh,
actually, Boston, in the
I want to add something in
So
here too, man. There's another kind of staged attack where it's not done with crisis actors, right? It's done with useful idiots that are playing along and they don't know they're playing along, that they're being used.
That's true.
Right, like shit, like
Oh,
NKOs
yeah.
would be a good example of that. Like a lot of times they don't know what's going on. They're a winning pawn.
They just want to lap it up and get their 5 minutes of fame, and it's like a big privilege to, get on the news for them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that become useful idiots, and then their psyops is like they plan a rehearsal in a school, okay, exercise drill, and on the day of the exercise drill, a shooter walks through the door when the military and police force is there, doing an exercise drill, and a shooter walks through the door and shoots up the school, and then the crisis actors comes out and tells you, and the students, they fire off guns with blanks in them in the hallways. So the students on the other end of the school think there's a real shooter.
Yeah.
but it does all come back to the Anti-Defamation League. If you backtrack to hate speech laws, you'll find you'll be led to that organization. It's been around since before the 1990s.
Yeah. But I mean, it could be a
And that's where it all
situation
comes.
where, like, they sort of exploit somebody who's already in a struggling situation to begin with. Maybe not even directly. Maybe through various people or whatnot that they come into contact with, who are, I guess, secretly like paid agents that might shift them into a certain direction. To shift them to go out there so that they'll fly out the handle and, like, let's say, there goes another mass shooting, right? And people are actually getting shot. People are actually, being killed. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But
in some cases.
Yeah. In some cases.
In some cases, this happens. You do have real deaths in some cases, all for a political agenda.
Yeah.
But Bill, I wanted to get your opinion on Christchurch.
On who?
On the Christchurch shooting in New Zealand.
Christchurch shooting. Oh,
Yeah,
the
no,
church shooting down there.
no, it was in a mosque in New
Oh,
Zealand.
the one in the Musk. See, I'm
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to think because we've had so many of them damn things go on. So
Well,
I'm
you're in
trying to place
America,
which
so
one it was. Yeah.
it's nothing untoward, but elsewhere that was very, very big.
How long ago was that one?
It was sometime earlier in the year, the mosque shooting. There was like over 30 people killed.
Oh, I remember that one now. Yeah. I suspect that that's probably also fraudulent, but I'm
Yeah, I
not
think
over
so.
there.
Yeah.
I suspect that's fraudulent.
Hmm.
My problem is sometimes you have things that are false flags where they actually kill people. Okay, and and that part is sad when that does happen, but they're not against killing. But here in the United States, they've actually passed a law that they're allowed to do exercise drills and lie to the public on the media that people died as long as nobody really died. Then why do they get by with lying on the media about that? Because we don't care if our media lies to us.
I will say this, man. The councilman guy says, "Do you think the Vegas shooting was a plant?" I haven't really looked that much into that, so I mean, but I will say this though, man. That one wasn't associated with the TFL or Incel Forever Alone stuff. That was a completely different motive, and there are some that are. I mean,
No, it was
a lot of people with other motives are usually based on like some sort of racist agenda. Whether they come from white, whether they come from blacks, whether they come from Muslims. It could come from any side. But things like that are usually like big motives for why people go out there and do shit like that. Also,
Yeah. I think most
that one.
I think most of the time it's a gun grab agenda.
It was strange that the guy was so old.
grabbing.
The guy was so old. It's quite unusual. It's kind of outside of the pattern. So I don't know whether that indicates it's more legit or not. But
I did a video up on the Vegas shooting that went viral. Then it got me suspended for 2 weeks, and they took it down. Okay, and I pulled up on Google Earth. I went to Vegas on Google Earth, and I pulled up where the concert happened at. And I pulled up, and then there was another guy come along, and he did a video. He was in a motel, and he was doing a live stream on Facebook. And he used his cell phone. He got thrown out of the hotel because they kept ordering him back inside. So then when he wouldn't go inside, they threw him out of his room. So he got in his car and he left, and he wound up going up the backside of Hooters. And when he walked to the front of Hooters, he's literally videotaping ambulances up the yin yang, up and down the street, and all these paramedics standing around talking and drinking coffee and shit, right? Well, then you had this guy come up, okay, up on YouTube, and he was calling himself something of God, but it was a religious guy. And he was breaking down why that guy on the cell phone called all the ambulances there. He said that the ambulances was there as a stage ground for the people who got shot, so that because the safe area wasn't safe to go into, so that they could trickle in and get an ambulance ride, right? But then the Hooters casino dealer who gave the interview talked about people coming through the door bleeding everywhere and people dying right outside the casino. Well, then there comes this guy with a cell phone showing all the ambulance people just standing around. Okay, there was no shooting there. And then when I looked at the distance between where the concert happened and Hooters, they would have had to literally walk a half mile to Hooters with their knee blown out, with a gunshot wound to get an ambulance. So now you tell me, since when would they, if they had a massive shooting, the first thing, okay, they might park the ambulances down the road, not let them in the area. But once the shooter was taken care of, the ambulance was coming and looking for people that were wounded, right?
Yeah.
But he explained it as, no, they sat there and waited for the people to come to them that were shot. And I started laughing, how ridiculous.
Can I want to acknowledge this. AAABBB says, I am a lesbian and I understand TFL. I'm done trying. Most women are impossible. All I wanted was my own family.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, if she's a lesbian and she wanted her own family, she wouldn't be able to create the kid through another female. And if she's looking for a sperm donor after so
She
many,
could adopt.
yeah, after so many females have lied and said that they wouldn't go after child support, but when they broke up with their female partner, they went after child support, and the guy who donated had to pay the child support. So it could be really hard for you to get a baby from any other source than adoption if you're a lesbian, because I don't think guys are going to trust the female gender, because the court system has made sure they couldn't be trusted for division. I got nothing against her being a lesbian, but the point would be, if you want your own family, you want kids, and you're a lesbian female with a female, okay, then you got to realize for the times the courts interfered and went after child support, you're going to have trouble getting guys who want to donate to you because they don't want to be nailed with child support for a kid that's not theirs.
Yeah. She says she don't blame men. She don't trust women much anymore either. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I don't know. It's hard to trust people nowadays. It really is. You know, I trust Warren. Warren trusts me. We know each other. I trust Ron. Ron's been around a long time. I don't know him on a personal level, but he's been around a long time. You know, there's
Yeah.
certain people I know that I could actually trust that they would be a friend, a good person. They mean well. Dave's outstanding. Steve Hoka. I'm telling you, I like Dave. I like Steve Hoka. I do like Ron. I'm glad that Ron came on this live stream. I think this is the first time I've had Ron actually on a live stream with me. And I appreciate that. Yes, I wish that Blue Skies Media would have showed up, but who knows? Maybe he'll show up next week.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see. I got his email. I'll send him another email to see if he answers me.
Yeah, I think maybe eventually you will. Maybe like you said, next week. Maybe this was kind of a little too short notice, but I think maybe eventually he'll show up.
Well, one thing he knows about us now, so maybe he'll come over and listen to the show a little bit before he decides to come in. I just hope we don't scare him off with some of the stuff we're saying, but it's true. You've got to know what's really going on. Hey, Warren.
Yeah.
So earlier I asked a question on the show, and I'll ask it again since you and Dave are here. Okay? So what do you think a TFLer, Warren, would ask themselves this question? Why is this happening to me? Why are people doing this? Why are they acting that way? Do you think a TFLer would ever ask themselves that question?
Yeah.
See, that would be to you and Dave.
Hmm.
Because didn't you at one time ask yourself, why is this going on?
Yeah.
I was asking myself that 30 years ago. When I was like 18, 19 years old. I was actually catching myself. How you came up with how you coined the phrase "true force loneliness." I was actually saying to myself, I would catch myself saying this. I feel like I'm literally forced to be alone. And that's why and all these years later, when you came up with the term "true force loneliness," it just kind of blew my mind a little bit. But I decided to start looking into it myself, and I came up with the same thing you came up with, Bill. Social engineering, the media, and I could see this early. I could see this early on. I could see the media starting to change many years ago, and starting to have a direct effect on society. And I saw like people just trying to act out fictitious roles that they see on a TV show. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And I think that's where you're at with a lot of women. They are looking for what they saw on TV. They have this image planted at the back of their head, and they're looking
Yeah,
for a
they want
mirage, an illusion.
right. They want to be that the Real Housewife of Beverly Hills or whatever. Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian. That's they sit there and try to they want to imitate these these retards. These they just take these people and they make role models out of them to these women. It's really sad.
Yeah. And you got the days of our lives who taught them how to
Yeah,
have
the soap.
drama.
Yeah, we can't forget the soap operas. That's
Yeah, counselor guy says it's not that I don't trust women, it's that I know that most women don't value nor care for men. They are completely ambivalent towards men. I mean, I said they are completely ambivalent towards men at the least, and outright hostile at the most.
That part I agree with. And
Yeah,
that
Yeah.
and that would actually come from 30 years of male shaming in Hollywood.
Hmm.
That is
definitely a
social,
lot of hostility out there.
It is. And Dave actually works in a public transport system. I don't know how much longer. I know it's getting closer for him, right? Or is it over?
2 more days, Bill. 2 more
2 more
days. I got
days.
that
I knew it
sitting
was
on.
closing. I'm probably excited about that.
Yeah. Oh, it's a surreal feeling. Believe me.
Well, that's awesome. I'm actually happy for you.
Hey,
Dave,
thanks. Appreciate that.
if you go traveling, you make sure to stop by and say hi.
Absolutely. If I'm ever in Clinton, ever near Clinton, Iowa, yeah, definitely. I would definitely hit you up there, and hook up with you at some point.
That's if you go traveling and you're in my area, definitely stop by. Okay.
Yeah.
But the reality is in people's face, and I appreciate people like Ron, Warren, and Dave because these guys have all been around a long time. They've actually looked into stuff and see what's going on. They know it as well as I do, and we have other people in the chat. Wolf Martin's pretty intelligent himself. I've watched a lot of stuff what he has said, and we got some good people. I just wish we could get the manosphere to come together. Hell by the Dashboard Light was actually in here earlier. We had the troll who was pretending to be Hell by the Dashboard, and then the real Hell by the Dashboard Light came in, and I recognized that, and that was actually him. But if I could get these people to understand that the manosphere needs to come together, we can cause the most resistance by coming together. We cannot do anything by staying
Yeah.
divided.
All right.
But you get a lot of people
Yeah.
are scared of that, though, don't you think?
Yeah. We need a lot of people to do just what you said, Bill, to come together.
Yep.
To really, to kind of make an impact on this.
Well, I appreciate people calling in like you guys are here tonight, and I appreciate Mr. Hoke even though he fell asleep because this like I told people before, I like to come up here and do this show for you every week, but I want people in this chat to anticipate in the show, and I want people to be more willing to call in and talk. They don't gotta say their last name, their state, or anything where they're from. Just be real and talk about what's going on in your life experiences. That's all I'm asking because this show, if you want this show here, I'm not going to come up here and talk by myself for 2, 3, 4 hours. That's just not going to happen. I want somebody in here with me. And that's what other people come for to begin with because they get to hear everybody's opinion. Warren's got a lot of people right here that like Warren. And they're happy when they hear him, okay? Just like Steve Hoka does. When you want this and I want to be able to do this, but you got to help us make it happen too. You can't expect me to do it all by myself. And so far, you've been really great. We're on our 10th show, and you guys have been really great, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, you definitely need some other callers to carry this along, and kind of keep it going.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping will continue to happen is that people will take the time to call in and help keep this going because it's needed. And maybe eventually we can break through the ice and we could start stopping throwing each other under the bus and we could start fighting for the same cause and cause enough friction to make some changes in society. I mean, it's definitely not right because you got to look at the reality. Dave's been alone his whole life because he's been denied. Warren's been alone his whole life because he's been denied. And it's not because they're not good people. It's because people are shallow. People believing in the lies, and they're not caring about anybody else. They're only caring
I get
about their
something?
own want. Go ahead.
Mysterio 132 says the two pillars, right, as Joachim and Boehm in Freemasonry, in the temple of the blazing sun is some of the symbolism I know about. He says black and white checkered flowering represents dualism. I believe that's like the chessboard, right? That's like when you know. I remember they used to have like marine commercials and shit. You'd see what they're on the chessboards, and you know, you see that throughout Hollywood. What the hell happened?
We heard you.
Something happened with my page, but hold on, it's probably like just my fucked up computer. I'm gonna have to close this tab and reopen it.
Okay, just close the tab and reopen it. You're already in the show, so just reopen it.
Yeah.
Let it reload.
Well, it's taking forever to close. That's cool. I can go ahead.
Yeah. Well, did you lose your train of thought there, Warren, or would your page do that to you?
There we go. It finally cut it. Well, now I gotta close out this folder. Damn, my computer's like shit. Y'all can go ahead, man. I'll fix it in a couple minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, Waddle says that the checkering is for the chessboard, where the elites play the lives of their pawns.
Yeah. I kind of think that's how that game got started in the first place. I mean, there was a reason why that game was invented, you know, and you know, it's people. You know, I think if you kind of look into the way that game is played, it kind of tells you a little bit of a story.
Yeah, that actually does make sense too. The sad thing is people don't realize how wide world this is. You know, that's why I tell people going overseas is not the answer. All you got to do is think about Harry over in the United Kingdom, Ron's over in Australia. Okay, all you got to do is think about these things. Joe's over in Australia. Okay, Kevin's over in Canada. All you got to do is realize this stuff's worldwide. When they said NWO, they're not joking. It is worldwide. So what are you going to spend a whole bunch of money to go to another country just so you can find out you're going to be right back where you're already at?
Yeah. Now going overseas is I think probably one of the worst things you can do nowadays, because you're gonna spend. I mean, you're gonna spend tons of money just traveling over there and on plane tickets. I mean, that's thousands of dollars, and there's a good chance you might end up even getting scammed by somebody over there. That's even worse. Kidnapped, yeah.
That could happen, especially if you go to a third world country that looks at all Americans as rich.
Yeah.
I know when I made my trip to the Philippines back in, what was it, 2007 or 8, when I made the trip to the Philippines. And in that era, when I went over there, all these people thought that I was rich. I'm not rich, but the Filipinos thought that I was rich, and at the time I was freaking out on it. But when I got realizing they were being paid pesos per hour like we are dollars per hour, and that at that time the US dollar was worth 57 pesos, okay? And you figure out if they made 10 pesos an hour and worked all day long, and then you take 57 pesos per dollar for US dollar, and you do the math, they were working all day long for a couple bucks.
Yep.
So then, of course, they would think Americans are rich. Because they're not over here to see and realize that you may be making what they consider a whole lot of money, but in your country, your dollars like their pesos are.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we live in some cities now where $95,000 a year is considered a low-income worker, like San Francisco.
Yes. And and the sad thing is people, if you could just get them to understand the real enemy is the very people they're freaking going and voting for. Okay? Is
Yeah.
the very people who's supposed to be on their side is not on their side. As history replays itself again, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this time you got all these epidemic, and it's just getting worse, of men that can't even get anybody in their life. And for the life of them, they can't figure out why.
Yeah.
Well, Warren and I do agree on one thing. It's not going to change in our lifetime. And if we could make a change, it's going to take 2, 3 generations just to begin to turn it back around.
I just got my stream back up again. Just got my tab back up. I can actually see the comments again now.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it would definitely take a couple of generations, Bill, to do that. And it would have to be done very persistently.
Well, yeah, you'd have to stay on top of it so you could turn the shit back around again. That way, in a few generations from now, you could start seeing the end of TFL. And I'm sure a lot of people would love to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do much what's going on in society because we all complicit with it, except for the people who speak out like myself. But I do agree with Ron. If my channel, I think if I hadn't been pushed down, my channel probably would have gotten big. And then I would have been attacked even worse than I was. And I may not even be it right now. They set you up and say you had something you didn't have and lock you up and put you in prison. I don't think they go to the extremes of shooting and killing you unless you was some big public figure. Okay? Because they could just lock you up under phony charges to shut you up.
And even if you
Right.
are, a lot of times they just set them up and frame them, like like what happened to Bill Cosby, say for example. I mean,
Yeah. We have some good noise going on there in the background, don't we?
yeah,
Yeah. Too bad Mr. Hoka fell asleep, huh?
I know, right?
He'll wake up when the
Yeah, I think.
broadcast is over.
Yeah, I think that's a first. I don't think I've seen that before.
No, I've never seen that out of Steve neither. I know what happened. He was laying down on his couch while he was talking to me. Okay, while he was talking on the show. And the next thing he knows, his eyes was closed. He was gone. But who knows what time he got up? I'm sure he was probably busy working all day.
Yeah, he could have got up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Who knows?
Hey yo, you got like a whoopee cushion or something, man? You can like fart like really loud into the mic and see if that wakes him up. That would wake me up, bro. What the fuck is that shit?
Then he'd be half groggy. Oh shit, I forgot I was on the live stream.
Yeah.
Well, I got trains in the background. You probably hear them there, huh?
Mm.
Oh, is that from where you live, Bill?
Yeah, the train sound is from my area. I hear it every day. They got a major company right up the road. The railroad tracks are right up the road, and so they're always topping through there. And of course, because every block they got to blow their horn, this is what you hear.
Yeah.
Every time they come to a crossroad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I get to hear that all the time where I'm at. And then I hear ambulances every day too. I even get to hear Flight for Life right over my head. Because I'm literally right across the street from the hospital.
Yeah.
And the ambulance, the entrance to the hospital is literally right there where I live.
Hmm.
Okay, turd flinging monkey is complaining about what? I'm not sure what that word is. Constantine? I thought turd flinging monkey took a hike.
Mm.
Aren't I doing what? We're quiet over here. Anybody reading the chat?
No, hang away from my computer right now. Let me go check it out.
Oh, that's why we were quiet.
Rainmaker Nick Quinn, he says, minor supremacy is the key to getting laid.
The key to getting laid. That's the key to how to destroy your life and your relationships. You go ahead and keep that focus on sex. You're not going to have a very good life.
Okay, weed makes me depressed and autistic.
Oh,
Okay.
weed makes him depressed and autistic, huh?
Artistic.
Autistic, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people to listen to in the manosphere, but I don't see as many speaking out anymore. Some of your people disappeared, like VVS.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to have vanished on you recently, hasn't he?
I think he might just stop going to YouTube. He might like be uploading videos somewhere else. I know he was talking about he was getting fed up with the censorship here. I think he might be going on to like a Discord server or some shit like that.
Yeah, well, the censorship part does get to be old, but I don't see how you're going to really run from it because even your other sites, you're getting censored on them sites too. All you got to do is realize who owns the internet. The very people that are doing this to us. You're using their
Yeah, I mean,
tools, you know? So how do you expect if they want to shut you up that you're going to be able to use their tools?
mhm. Yeah, I've seen a few channels that I subscribe to, you know, where you got guys like yourself, Bill, that are out there telling the truth, and they you know, they've lost a channel or two. Yeah, there's definitely quite a few of them out there that are you know, that's happening to.
Yeah. Well, Hell by the Dashboard says smoke, get high, Black Sabbath.
Now, is that the real hell by the dashboard light?
Yes.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah, he's still around listening.
yeah.
Well, he did do some good work, okay. And like I told her earlier, I'm not against him for being angry. How would you not be, man? You can't be pushed out of a life and done the way men are done and not be angry.
Yeah. No, I've listened to a few of his videos in the past. Yeah, he's, you know, he had some pretty good stuff up there.
Well, anger, if channeled the right direction, could actually help cause resistance against the jerks that done this to us. But we have to have numbers of angry people to do that. So I think, there's nothing wrong with, you damn right he has the right to be angry, so does Warren. Okay? The problem I have is trying to get the manosphere to see that and understand that and stop attacking each other when we're all pretty much victims of this, and to look at who your real enemy is, and then to work together and stand together with anger and cause the friction on the people who've done this to us. Because that's where we need to be going. We need to stop attacking each other.
Right.
Because every time we attack each other, you're giving the people who've done this to us their want. You're never attacking your real enemy. You're attacking somebody who's done nothing to you. And most of the time, it's all over a disagreement because you don't want to learn how to agree to disagree. Warren and I don't agree upon everything. But we also do not hate each other. And we also agree upon more than we disagree on.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. He says psychopathic thinking when compassion is seen as weakness. And let me tell you this, though, man. I've been saying for how long that the people at the top of the governments and big businesses and all this shit that are running things are all psychopaths, right? And of course, we live in the kind of society where it's built for a psychopath type personality to get ahead, and they want the type of personality that exists on all levels, and they want to mold society into their image at the top.
Yep, that's correct,
So,
Warren.
given that as any surprise that people are starting to exhibit psychopathic types of behavior.
No, it isn't. And another thing, I want to throw something in on this. When it comes to compassion, well, guess what compassion is? It's the ability to actually care about what's going on around you. It's the ability to be angry when you see what's going on. And for TFLers, they have a right to be angry. But if they had real compassion and would look into stuff, then their anger, through that compassion, caring about other people, we'd stand together and we would make big resistance for the people who've done this to us through that compassion. Because your anger is justified. Compassion would allow you to not only be angered, but it also would allow you to strike back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I've said before, man, it is the loss of care, which is compassion, that is really one of our biggest downfalls we've had. Because I actually care about what's right and wrong, and I don't want to see any of the guys that are living TFL live in TFL. I'd like to see you all be able to meet that significant other and have your life. But we got a bunch of psychopaths that don't want you to have your life. But they do want to see you blame people that had nothing to do with it. And they enjoy that every time you do.
Oh, yeah, because you're just fanning their flames even further when you do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons it's so crucial for us to do what we're doing. And hopefully we can get more people calling in and expressing their feelings, because what else have we got? You can either keep fighting and stand up fighting as a man, or you can die as that coward on your knees. Take your pick. I don't pick to die as the coward on my knees. I pick to fight back on my feet.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'll do. I'll keep fighting regardless. You're not going to scare me with death threats, that's for sure. Scare tactics is one of the reasons they got us where they're at, because a lot of people are scared.
Yeah.
And they use the monetary system as a weapon to keep you scared. well, if you don't shut up, we're going to take your job away from you. You're not going to be able to make your
Yep.
money, and you're not going to be able to make your mortgage payment or your car payment. Are you going to become homeless? Well, I don't want that happening to me. No. And they become scared and shut up.
Yeah, exactly. That's their go-to. That's their go-to tactic right there, Bill.
Yeah. And then, what do you think they took my job for me back in the day for? It was a form of
Mm.
trying to shut me up.
Yep.
That's all that was really about, was trying to shut me up. Let's take his job away from him while he's got a kid to raise. Let's blackball him in the area so they'll have to figure out what he's going to do. Then he'll get the hint, he'll shut up. Now, who would do that to somebody? Oh, somebody that don't like what you're saying because they have an agenda they want to carry on, and they don't want you making enough people aware of it that they get angry and stand up for themselves, because then they would lose their power and their agenda would go out the
Mm.
door. And sometimes maybe they worked a long time on their agenda. Think about TFL. Do you think this happened overnight? No. They spent decades social engineering people till they got us where we're at, where we got this big epidemic of guys that can't get away in their life, right? And the divorce rates are through the
Mm.
roof. Well, do you think they want somebody with compassion, you know, to come along and tell truth, and people see the truth, and through that compassion they get angry and realize who the real enemy is? No, they don't want that. Their biggest fear is the people seeing what's really going on and standing up to them.
Absolutely right.
What is it? I mean, here's the thing, man. I mean, I know the phenomenon of people living TFL goes back to at least the 70s. I mean, how far back does it go? Does it go back to the 50s?
I don't know. I know I
I mean,
can
like it was
take it.
just in America.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I know there's been other pockets.
yeah. Here in America, I can take it back into the 70s without a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. 70s was that. 70s for sure. There was definitely people going through TFL in the 1970s. One of my uncles was going through TFL, and I think he went through about a 15-year period of TFL from 1974 or 75 up into the late 80s, when he met somebody and got married, and which he's had nothing but a bad, that's been a total shit show, that marriage, but that's another story. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely around in the 70s.
Yeah. Well, they'll use the mental health laws as a weapon against us to take more rights away from us, to shut us up. They're going to do anything to shut somebody up that actually cares and tells the truth.
Yeah. Well, the old saying, Bill, the truth shall set you free, and they don't like that.
But I tell you what, man. I think it got markedly worse in the 90s, right? Like in the early 90s, like around the time third wave feminism came in.
Yeah.
It got markedly
exactly,
worse.
Yeah.
Just like it got
I would
markedly
say,
worse when social media came again. Once again, it gets
Yeah,
worse in stages.
yeah, no, you're right, Warren. I would say right around 1989, I was 19 years old in 1989, and I kind of started to see a change with things. I mean, really kind of a drastic change. Literally, it was like a flip of a switch overnight, from like 1989 right into the early 90s, and then it just kind of carried right through to where we are today.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. I was in middle school back then, but I had options at that age with pretty decent looking chicks, man, who were into me, man. And I mean, at that time I was just thinking, well, I'm young, I'll have the rest of my life to worry about. I'm focused on other things at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
mean, maybe I made the wrong choice, who knows? But there goes my damn tab crashing again.
Well, Warren, when you were young, you were more impressionable, and you didn't know what was really what you were facing.
Yeah.
And then by the time you realized what you were facing, you started diving into it, you still didn't know why the dating scene was the way it was. No more than I did. You know what I'm saying? We're not responsible for that because we were lied to our whole lives.
I'm gonna restart my computer.
Yeah, it messed up again, did it?
Yeah, it did.
You probably got malware in there.
I'm pretty sure I do. I'll fix it later. Yeah.
Yep, so I would just have to tell people, it is crucial that you understand this. Ron's on our show tonight, and he's very awake to what's going on. And I see some other people in the chat that are just as knowledgeable on this stuff as well. And I'm happy to see that because I want to see more people actually seeing the real truth and able to dig through it to understand why we're where we're at. Because they don't have to win. We as the human race could still win. But we're not going to do that without compassion. We're not going to do that without standing together for the same cause. If we keep attacking each other, we're only giving them their wants. And we
Yeah, but
really have to
That's
stop giving them their wants.
right. That's the
I mean,
biggest
I
thing they're
prefer
afraid of,
to
Bill. Is
err on the side of what's probably going to happen versus ideally what should happen. I mean, because I already know. I mean, if it hasn't happened in the past, 1,000 years that this shit's been going on. I mean, why would it all of a sudden happen now? And at a point in time when people are more scientifically controlled than they've ever been at any other point in history. I mean,
Yeah, unfortunately, our last commenter has it right. They need to realize the human farm is to leave the farm.
yeah.
yeah,
That's the biggest thing that they're afraid of, Bill. Is is compassion coming back into society.
Yeah, that's why they demonize
Yeah.
compassion as being weak. Because they don't want compassion back, because compassion will lead to people doing the right things for each other, which will lead to strength for the people and weakness for the people who are doing this to us. And we can only do that through standing together for the same cause. We can't do it without that. And that's why it's so important for people in the manosphere. You got nothing else to lose. Your life has been destroyed and taken away from you for no good reason other than some of the human beings' selfish greed. A psychopath's selfish greed. They've destroyed your life because they're able to get by with it. And you should be mad as hell, and you should want to stop them. And that's where it comes from. So, yeah, we should be mad as hell. We should come up with ideas of ways that we can cause friction for them, cause trouble for them, and stop attacking one another. You need to realize the people in the manosphere are here because they're going through the same types of shit. And the blaming each other is not doing you any good. I mean, I've tried so hard, and I just see, I've been here for years, and I still try. And I hope that people will finally, at least people now are finally seeing the stuff that I screamed for years is materializing in their face. But unfortunately, we have so many people out there that don't even realize this stuff yet. I don't know how Blue Skies Media will handle this stuff. Because he's pretty much, he's really in bad shape when you think about it. And he does have good reason to be in bad shape. Think about it. You had a female in your life. You had somebody you loved and you wanted to be with, and then they die on you. Then you're pushed into TFL. You know that done a number to him.
Yeah, he was he was definitely dealt a serious blow with that.
Yeah.
So I think his wife was really young. Was only like in her 30s or something like that, 30 years old.
Yeah,
She died of cancer.
Yeah, she got cancer,
Jesus.
died from cancer.
Yeah.
Did he ever mention her name?
No, I don't think he did, no. If he did, I didn't hear it.
I haven't heard. I'm not saying he didn't, but
Yeah. That I know of, he hasn't, but it's that I know of.
yeah.
The only thing we can do as ourselves is try to remember the facts are we're all in this boat together, whether you want to or not, and that we have to stop fighting one another. And for people who want to think it's a game, whether if it's just an ordinary person playing troll, or whether if it's a YouTube employee playing troll, or whether if it's a paid agent that's working for the establishment trolling, it doesn't matter. You're pieces of shit, and I'll just remove you. Money is one of our biggest weapons too, because it is money that is the root that keeps the people doing what they're doing. Think about it. You offer somebody a really good income to come up online and troll people who are telling the truth. Oh yeah, man, that sounds like a fun job. I can get paid good money to troll you because you're telling the truth.
Well, Bill, you look at it like this. They've used money to actually divide men and women. By basically getting women away from men, and giving them a career and paying them, like you said, paying them the tool.
Exactly.
And so that's what they've done.
They use money to pay the women. It's caused our problems. They use money for people who want to put on fraudulent shootings and fraudulent this and fraudulent that. They all do it for the money. And some of them are completely oblivious to what they're doing. They just know they're doing this for money. They don't know about the consequences of what they're doing. Mainstream media is the same way. Look at what they do. They openly report lies to the public for the
everybody's
tool.
on a need to know basis. There's layers of useful idiots.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Useful idiots.
Yep.
And now I know they could be mad when you call them a useful idiot, but that's what they are. We're not going to get around that. That's the reality. And if you don't want to be, well, there is one saying that's true. You can't fix stupid.
Yeah.
There's no fixing stupid. Stupid has to fix stupid because otherwise there's just no cure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't even know what to say about that. I mean,
well, Warren, when you look around you, ain't that what you see just about everywhere? Is stupid.
Yeah, you don't have to leave. You don't even hardly have to leave your damn house to see stupid now. You can just look out your damn window and see stupid.
Well, Steve Holko woke up and left the chat. And a guy from Australia probably went to bed.
Billy, you can come to work with me sometime, and you can see plenty of stupidity out there. You can see people that go to the most prestigious schools in the country, Harvard and MIT, and they don't even know how to cross the street the right way.
Oh, I believe that.
That's what you call educated idiot, bro.
Yeah, they teach you how to cross the street when you're in kindergarten. These people are going to Harvard and they don't know how to cross the street the right way.
The educated idiot is one of the most useful idiots in the world because they think they know everything and they don't know shit. That's what you call one dumbed up motherfucker.
Oh yes, that's exactly right, Warren. And I like Waddle's comment too, because it's correct that he made at me, okay? And money has been used to manipulate people forever.
Mm,
That's why they call money the root of all evil. Because so
Yep.
many useful idiots will take that money and do anything they're told for it. You offer them enough and they'll do almost anything, won't they?
Yep.
what's terrible? What
No,
I say
that
that was terrible? I mean, I'm just. It says MSTEERE132.
I see him. That's terrible, Warren.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying that I'm not indicting people with intellect. I mean, I'm not saying that you should be stupid or nothing. I mean, I don't remember what I said. To be honest, man, I'm about fucking high as hell.
Well, Dave, I appreciate it. I think I'm going to jump on out of here a little early tonight.
all right, Bill. Hey, it's good talking to you, and yeah, good talking to Ron
Right
and
on.
Warren too.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it was nice having Ron on here. And hey, Warren, I appreciate you being here regardless. I wish Blue Skies had been here. Maybe we'll be lucky next week and he'll show up. Then again, maybe he just got an attitude and changed his mind. But maybe he'll listen into the live stream and realize something and come on. I'm going to send him an email regardless and see if he'll answer. And I'll keep you informed on what happens that way, Warren, okay?
That'll work.
Okay, with that being said, guys, I'm going to jump on
Right.
out of here for the night. And then I'll be back next Saturday. And until then, hey, everybody, you all have a good one, okay?
All right.
All right.
All right. Good night. Good night, Bill.